Welcome to Extraordinary Chats with Presifundent and T Rx. I'm T Rx. Let's get a hold of Presifundent.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Whoa, you beeped me again.
Hello. Oh,
I'm getting used to that now. It's like,
the
hello?
beeping?
Beep. What is that?
Yeah, it's like when I pick up, Google Voice is like, you have a call from so-and-so. Press 1 to accept. Press 2 to decline.
Oh,
or to send them the voicemail.
It sounds
So
like
I like
accepted or something, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, I pressed 1, and then I still heard the voice, so then I pressed it again, and I'm like, damn it, maybe I pressed it too quick. And sorry to beep you there.
Oh, it's no big. Yeah, I was just, goofing around because it's.
I was telling you right before we started talking here through text, I suggested you the JV rub that I had thought of like a decade ago.
Yeah, I watched your video online. That's a pretty good idea. She doesn't really get foot rubs. She gets more of toe crackings because I have this thing where I can just pull my feet out of my shoes, put my the front of my toes, like where my toenails are, and just kind of bend them down, and they just go. And she's just like, and she'll be like, "Well, you do."
Yeah, I can do that too for most of them.
I end up cracking her knuckles because she can't do it herself because I don't know what it is, but when she bends her knee, her foot goes all tight. Like if it's
she cramps up.
Yeah, if she puts her leg completely straight, like when she has her knee locked, it's completely locked up her foot. And then when she has a lot of nerve damage and shit in her foot, from her back injuries because it didn't heal right and all that, so she's got a lot of issues. But if she's completely relaxed, I can just walk up and I can tell by touching them immediately. I don't know if it's magic fingers or I've just been doing it so long, but I can instantly tell which one needs to be cracked, which one's tense, and which one's pushing back and all that shit. And usually she can tell if it's a certain one that needs to be popped. But yeah, I can normally probably 99% of the time get them to pop pretty easily. Now, if I could
that's cool. But I
get
wiggle,
a foot rub,
right. It's like, baby, come on, I give you so many. Can't you do me? Some reciprocation. But
should be more like
twist them to crack.
Should be more like, well, do you want some pussy or no? And I'm like, all right, I'll take that. So okay.
Oh, whatever. You should pose that to her. Be like, baby, did you want a foot rub or did you want some dick?
She'll be more like, that was gonna happen anyway, so both.
Yeah, right.
Okay, whatever. It's worth it.
Damn it! You got this thing. You got this thing on lockdown.
They teach them young.
No. Yeah. So yeah. I have a weird thing with always my right foot. I get cramps all the time if I stretch, and I swear I do drink a lot of water. Maybe there's some times where I don't, but it doesn't really seem to matter how much water I drink. It's just, it always is susceptible to kind of freezing up, and then it kind of hurts. And I get a cramp really bad, and I could see that my toes are kind of bending improperly until whatever happens, my muscles kind of just ease up and everything. I try to just kind of relax when that happens, but it's hard because it's painful.
Yeah, I was about to say the only real way to unlock that issue is to breathe as deeply as you can and exhale as deeply as you can. And I know that sounds like, fuck you, dude, I can't do it, but it's literally the only way, because what's happening is when you breathe in, you're pulling in the oxygen, and when you exhale like that, you're also relaxing your muscles, even though it doesn't seem like it, but it allows that oxygen to get to those muscles so that they're not they don't stay locked up like they do as much or as easily, if that makes sense. Kind of like when you get a Charlie horse, if you tense up and it's just gonna keep going. But if
it's hard though. It's so hard.
I know it sucks. It's just you'd want to just scream and fight it, but it really breathing through. It's just my girlfriend says it's like labor. It's like you gotta breathe through it. You know, it does help a huge amount. She works at the hospital delivering.
Oh yeah, well, hey,
she knows all
as a someone that's into, like just like sex or whatever, all like kind of different sex acts, like referring to the butt. Gotta relax. Otherwise, it's gonna be, painful and not as pleasurable.
Right.
Sort of, So I'm just, I didn't want to get too graphic there, so I used the BUTT word,
Speaking of BUTT, some buttheads left some mail for me, and it's from a church, and it's kind of funny to me. And it starts off with a picture of the Sistine Chapel on one side, and then you know how God has his finger pointed out and he's trying to touch whoever. I don't even fucking know who that is. I don't care. But anyways,
it's like man or something, right? Because he's like created man.
Maybe it's
that
Adam
one famous photo.
Yeah. So anyways, he's reaching out and you see a nuke. You see probably, it looks like maybe Jews from the Holocaust. And you see some like Iraqi soldiers getting executed. And then you see an American tank getting shot at. And you see coronavirus. And then you see, it looks like a little African kid starving with a bandage on their head. And then you see tornadoes and lightning and shit. And it says, "Is God to blame?" And then you open it up.
I guess technically.
you open it up and it says, "Who's asking? Who cares? I'm just trying to survive another day." What the fuck is going on with this shit? Anyways,
was that an advertisement for that local church? Really?
No, it's something from New York. It says "Freedom Loving America." Okay, this is a book that should be in every home of every freedom loving American, and it's basically saying that what's the book? Oh, it's Teach the Controversy. It's basically saying that we don't teach God in schools. We don't teach God in schools, so that's why everything's falling apart. And I saw that, and I literally fucking did one of those laughs when I saw that. And it's just like, what the fuck? My girlfriend was like, "What are you? What just happened?" And I was like, "Read this," and she started reading it to me, and I don't know. I just get into this mode where I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, okay, yes, the world is fucked up. There's a lot of shit going on, but does it have literally anything to do with whether or not someone believes in God or not? Or is it people's ability to let things kind of not actually be concerned about that thing? Or how do I put that? Like, it's like virtue signaling. Like, I'm so concerned with the way that everybody else is living their life. Yeah, but you're kind of a piece of shit too, so you can't really judge people, especially when you're the people that have the slogan, but "Don't be judging, motherfuckers."
God judges me.
Yeah, don't judge me. God judges me. And then that's what they constantly do, is judge you for not believing the way they do. So, and then I get mail like this shit all the fucking time. And most of it is local. 99% of the time, it's from this church that's like 6 blocks from here, and they have 5,000 members that show up every Sunday, and the place is literally packed. Wow. And they have people sitting out in their cars listening to their radio broadcast. They have a TV broadcast that lasts literally all fucking day Sunday. It's on from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Most people barely work that much, and it's on the entire Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like,
are they filming like reruns or something, or
it's a
broadcasting
new
reruns?
Show. It's like Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I think. And Wednesday and Thursday are just like 5 or 6 p.m. to 7. You know, just like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then on Sundays, it's a literal all day like festival of 5,000 people fucking singing and waving their hands in the air and fucking preaching, fucking all this shit, and it's
releasing the serotonin and dopamine in their brain.
Yeah, and Well, firstly, it's only one of the two mega churches we have here. We have two churches that seat over 5,000 people, and we literally have 98 churches in a town of 87,000 people.
Why are there like? I mean, those mega churches are so frustrating because it's like even just like the normal churches. Because if you took all that like real estate and land, you could definitely solve homelessness. But instead, it's really about them, making money and them.
The building,
maybe they believe their bullshit.
The building they have is big enough to literally house everybody in my entire neighborhood. I'm talking about everything south of the lake. It would literally house everybody. Like, they have an entire school, so the school and the church are connected. It's where everybody in my town votes. It's literally like the biggest. It's bigger than our civic center. We had a monster truck show that had a helicopter in the show. Like, a monster truck jumped a helicopter. No, not a monster truck. Motorcycle jumped a helicopter during the monster truck show. And what's crazy is when you go into the auditorium at this specific church, you go, wow, they could jump 5 helicopters. They could jump 17 school buses up in this motherfucker. It's that fucking big. It dwarfs our civic center, and it's like a $20 million building. So I can't even imagine how much that specific building is. And when they show it on TV, it's like looking at a not quite a fucking a stadium, like a college football stadium size, and it's inside. It's all indoors, and everybody in the building is wearing a suit and tie, and you know what I'm saying, like wearing $5,000.
Feeling good about themselves, and I give 10%. So why fuck these homeless people? They're not doing nothing.
That type of shit. And then I've talked to a lot of these people. I live around. A lot of them live in my neighborhood, and a lot of them I grew up with. And that's exactly it. It's our church does a lot of charity work and stuff like that. And what they mean by charity work is they do these like soup kitchen things where they go to a soup kitchen and then they volunteer. They have like 10 of their people volunteer for like 3 hours, and that's their charity. They don't give any money. They don't supply any food. They don't go out and buy 1,000 packages of socks and clean underwear and backpacks to give out. They don't do any of that type of shit that would actually help. They go do something that's already being done.
Giving the house away.
Yeah, anything beyond. Okay, I understand. Yes, the 5 or 10 volunteers that help, I commend them for any amount of time that they do help out. But to pretend like they're a huge benefit to our society because they have that church.
They wouldn't be able to find 10 people anywhere else.
What's that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They wouldn't be able to find 10 people anywhere else.
They're not doing anything that 10 other people wouldn't be able to do if they weren't in that position, and possibly it may be them fucking impeding other people when, other people might be a little more efficient, a little more caring, a little more into it, I'm here because my pastor told me I have to spend 4 hours here this weekend. You know what I mean?
Is the pastor like doing stuff, or is he just like hanging out, having fun, somewhere else?
He's at a restaurant bitching at somebody. This is probably going to piss off a lot of people.
Damn homeless people. He probably does.
I'm going to tell you exactly what people call him, and I've never called him this because I don't really know him well, but I know of him. I've seen him around. I've seen the way he acts toward people. And he's a very effeminate, screechy voiced, like scary little woman of a man. And they call him Father Faggot because he is the most flamboyant woman. I almost said woman. He's literally more womanly than any woman I've ever met. He does that hip switch, shoulder kind of cockiness, throw out his elbow and hand snap type of dude. And if you have any, like, if you're like, excuse me, sir, he ain't gonna take that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't excuse me, sir. You know, do what I ask, type of thing. He's fucking just. I can't be around those type of people, or I'll fucking reach.
Very kind of bitchy and
yeah. So anyway,
demanding.
Anyway, this guy, he's known around town. He drives a Maserati. He has literally every time you see him, he's in a new $5,000 suit, and people like, okay, I've watched people walk up to him and be like, hey, I know that you run this church and da 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 da. Is there any way that we could maybe talk about you guys helping out with this certain benefits thing and shit like that? And he's straight up fuck off type of guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. Is it Catholic? Does it have anything to do with the Catholic Church? Did the Pope ask for you to ask me this? You know, did you get a call from God to tell you to do this? You know what I'm like? You're wasting my time. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You're literally, you preach on the weekends about peace and love, and then the rest of the week, all you do is run around town causing fucking havoc with people. And I guarantee you, if you walked into any restaurant in the town that I live in and asked them about this guy, they would all tell you 100% of the same thing. They would all, I know.
Well, there's probably some sycophants in that, you know, like, you make it 99%, you know.
I know probably 15 people who run the most of the, you know, major restaurants around here. I would say there's 25 major restaurants and like 25 mom and pop shops. And out of the like franchisee places, he doesn't really go there, but all the other, you know, mom and pop shops, which I've been in and out of, and I know a lot of the people. I grew up with a lot of them. And I swear if it's a Sunday and you walk in there, they look up at you like, you know what I mean? Like, good, you're not that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucking that crazy. And then you get all of his followers. Imagine what the fuck they're doing. If they're seeing him act this way on a weekly basis, what do you imagine they are doing? You know what I'm saying? And they don't have any reason to hold any of it back because they're not pastor of anything. You know what I'm saying? So.
I mean, usually the flock are usually like the nicer ones that actually like believe, like loving the neighbor and being a good person, and they'll see him act like a douchebag and they'll be like, you know, whatever, I'm going to forget about that, you know.
Well, and that's my problem with it, is when people don't get called for the shit that they're doing, and then I guess that's my biggest point about my negative about religion, is that that's basically what happens. Well, they're just having a bad day or whatever. Yeah, but if you're supposed to be in a belief system of some sort and that's part of your belief, but you go against your own beliefs constantly, what the fuck is the point of the belief system in the first place?
It's for $5,000 suits every day, and to have a nice car, you know, and to have people, you know, fawn over you.
But what are those people, like the guys that I used to work with who go to that church, that say, man, I'm struggling, but I give like $200 a week to this church. And it's like, but that would pay your mom's bills. You know what I mean? Your mom can't afford to live, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving your church $200 a week, and you're complaining about not being able to pay your bills and your mom's, you know, supplementary shit, like maybe her medicine or something, and you're giving $200 to a church. You don't see a problem there, buddy? You know, so, and then...
Well, they got to be the good, you know, little person and give money, otherwise they're not going to get into heaven. You know, this is what God wants. God wants them to give money.
What kind of logic is that? God doesn't need money. He's literally pure magic. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
you know, yeah.
It just doesn't.
You know, I don't know. You know, like George Carlin was like, God always needs money. You know, but you know, I'm always skeptical of that.
Yeah, you know what I did when I was a teenager? That guy, we used to play. They have the most. I live 2 blocks from this church that I'm talking about, by the way. There's another church ran by another guy that's very similar. And anyways, they have the best basketball court in my town. And it's literally, I can walk through my backyard between their fence, and then across the street, and then between the fence and on their backyard, that's the basketball hoop. Literally, it's like 150 feet from my house. now anyway. But when I was a kid, I lived a few blocks from where I live now, and we used to be in that parking lot every day. Well, it's a baseball diamond, a basketball court, a tennis court, and a parking lot. And the basketball court is right next to all the cars. And one day we were out there playing basketball during their, whatever, Sunday morning, Sunday school or whatever the fuck it is. And he literally stopped his fucking sermon or whatever and came outside and fucking just to yell at us for playing basketball. And literally the ball wasn't rolling near the cars. It was because we were playing basketball on their property while they were in church. You know what I'm saying? And ever since then, like if I saw his car out there, I would just go sit on his car and wait for him to come out. And then when he come out screaming, I just run off. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to fucking be an asshole. I didn't like damage his car or anything. It's just fucking with him, like leaning up against it or whatever. But, same situation. It's not a Maserati. It's, I can't remember. It's one of those sick ass cars that you never see around. But yeah, he has the same reputation as the other guy, or similar anyway. Maybe not as mean or whatever. He's not as standoffish in every situation, but he's definitely not a cool dude. You know what I mean? Like if I was a
people
preacher
see
or
that
some
shit as like leadership.
So check this out. If I had a whole congregation of like 1,000 people listening to me, and I look over and I see some kids playing basketball, I would be like, "Hey kids, you want to come in and fucking listen to what's going on?" You know what I'm saying? Instead of, "Hey, you get the kids, get off my property. You shouldn't be out here doing it." It's like, why do you have a basketball court? What the fuck? And also, it's connected next to our public school. It's on, like, the property has no fence, so it's part of, like, the school playground, too. It's weird. But I'm always thinking, dude has, like, access to all these school children, like, all the time. Well, I mean, I guess if it's Sunday, they're probably at home or whatever, not around. But during the week,
he's probably definitely sexually satisfied, if that's where you were going.
Well, no, I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm just saying, like, he has access to these kids to be like, "Hey, tell your parents to come on Sundays. We got blah, blah, blah." You know what I mean? Like, he could constantly do that. You know what I'm saying? But instead, he does the opposite. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here," type, It's just, to me, that's the opposite of what I would expect from that type of person. When I was little and going to Baptist church, I hated it. And it had nothing to do with going to the church. It had nothing to do with hanging out with the congregation of people in the church. It was the pastor himself would literally pick on me. Maybe it was because I was the youngest, or maybe I asked the most questions and, broke his brain a couple times by asking questions that he couldn't physically answer without, doing a physical backflip to, metaphorically, I guess. I know that sounds weird, but like you could see his brain like doing backflips in his head is what I'm trying to say. And, but then he would take it out on me, like be kind of mean and spiteful to me. And that's kind of a reason that's one of the main reasons that pushed me away from religion. And then seeing people defend that type of behavior. Well, he's just doing what he has to do. And that's harassing a 7-year-old because he can say a sentence, but the sentence he says is untruthful, and I can tell as a 7-year-old. So I'm like, raise my hand. But you said this also, you know what I mean? Can you explain that? And then you get a fucking target on your back as being a troublemaker, you know what I mean? And so, but, it's like all those people who don't have a question, they must not be troublemakers. No, they're just not thinking about this shit. They just don't obviously care enough to think about it, or they've heard it so many times that it's just like, whatever, So, I don't know. I feel like there's about, I feel like 50 or more % of people who are into religion give a pass to that type of behavior. I don't know if it's because they do it themselves in private or whatnot or whatever, but and then the other 50% are like, oh no, he's not being very Jesus like, but then on the weekends they're fucking getting drunk and, you know, fighting with their whoever spouses and shit like that. And it's like, I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm actually trying to say that they're about the same, you know, and it's like all these, like you said earlier, all these judgments. And then like, if I'm
they're like, only God could judge me, but I'm judging the shit out of you.
Yeah, and if I'm like, well, I don't even believe in that shit, then they all turn at me like, oh, you're the problem. And it's like, wait.
Well, yeah, because you're not conforming, because it's about conformity, you know. So.
Yeah, and I'm not completely against some kind of conformity. I feel like we all need to have some structure in our lives, like maybe basically like public school. We all need something like that. Maybe not all at the same time or all at the same level, but we all need something similar to that. But as long as 70% of the people in my town are going to a church, that fucking education is not being put to good use. Especially if I'm constantly, literally, I fucking feel like if as soon as religion is mentioned around anybody, it's like these fucking people who defend America for being the world police and then we get attacked like on 9/11 and then we're like, oh, we need to go to war. No, we're instigating these fucking wars. What are you talking about? This shit is, they're seeing it from a perspective of bias where they think they're the good guys, but they're the aggressors. You know, we're the victims. We are oppressed. So we got to get out there and fucking do all the damage we can to every system we can. But then they don't realize that's why they're being oppressed, is because of the damage that they do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that they're actually being oppressed. It's if someone pushes back, that's their oppression. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you can't.
If you don't conform.
Yeah, I guess. I guess that's really all it is. And to me, I've never been a conformist. It's been do what's necessary in the time that you're doing it, but there's no real reason to fucking adhere to some dogma or to traditions and shit. Just fuck me up. Traditions are so stupid. We gotta wear this hat and blow this smoke and do this weird thing on this certain specific day. Why? What does it change? Did it help you do something? Did it make a difference? Did it stop the hurricanes? Did it fucking stop starvation? Did it stop illiteracy, teenage pregnancy, any of that? Like, I'm sorry.
You know, there could be new traditions because we're all like, you know, we all like fantasize a lot of the people that say they're like the most patriotic and freedom loving, you know, are all like singing like, you know, the national theme song and all these weird things. Shit, I forgot the point I was going to make. But yeah, it's usually about conforming, like with the religious crowd, especially. Like if you ask questions, like you said a few minutes ago, like you're kind of inquisitive and everything. You know, you think that would be like looked at like a positive thing, like, oh, this dude is like trying to understand,
right? And you would think
then you get like blowback instead, you know, and it's like, what the fuck's going on here,
right? And see, this is what I know the problem is. The problem is he's never thought like a 7-year-old, or when he was 7, he didn't think about that stuff, so it wasn't something on his mind, so he had no way to handle that situation, you know. And if you're always saying this is the way it is, and nobody ever says, wait a minute, that's fishy. Like Jonah in the well, right? Or Jonah in the fish for 3 days. But wouldn't he drown? How did he breathe? Is this a Pinocchio situation? Like, what? Like, isn't that like a fantasy cartoon or some shit? You know what I mean? Like, and then then you get a grown ass adult with his fucking steam literally coming out of his ears, and his face is so red that he wants to fucking punch a hole through the wall, but he can't because he's got 500 people looking at him like, are you gonna answer the 7-year-old? You know what I mean? And I'm sure that's fucking a really fucked up situation to be in.
Question Batman.
What's that?
You should have never questioned Batman, T-Rex. Come on now.
Well, I don't know. I guess I've always been that person. Like, if something is happening, it's not like, oh, look at that, that's cool. It's, oh, look at that. Why is that happening? What's going on there? You know? And I don't know. I've always had that inquisitive nature to figure something out, regardless of if it's even figure-outable, if that's a word. If it can be figured out, I want to figure it out. And that to me...
Yeah, there was that, like, a few years back, there was, like, some spacecraft, some satellite, and one of the fuel things in it, like, erupted, and it sent, like, the rocket into, like, or sent the satellite into, like, a spinning thing. And it looked kind of like a sky vortex. And there was all these people that were like, oh, yeah, that's a portal to another dimension. And it's like, well, maybe, but, you know, I think it's just, you know, a rupture in a fuel thing, and it's spinning around, making it look like that. You know? Right. So, yeah, trying to figure shit out, sorry.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're getting at. It's like there's an explanation, a scientific explanation. If there's not one that we know of, that doesn't mean there isn't one. It's just we don't know it.
Yeah, we just haven't figured it out yet.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of like kind of what I was getting at. Is like this plug and play mentality of, oh, well, if we can't explain it, it must be God. Okay, well, what is God? Is God like magic or something? No, God's not magic. God is like this force that makes things happen. So magic, you know, and it's, you can't get a Christian or most religious people to admit that it's just magic. And you know what's really crazy? I fucking went to so goddamn much church and Sunday school and Bible vacation.
Well, magic is the devil. Supernatural is God.
So I went to this vacation Bible school every year for like 10 years. And it was like a few weeks out of the summer. And every year they had this magician come in here. And he's like, I'm not a magician. I'm an illusionist because magic isn't real. And then he preaches about God the whole time. And that is literally probably one of the things that solidified my atheism, is watching that type of hypocrisy happen. Well, God created everything by saying, let there be light and let there be this and let there be that and all this shit. Isn't that like magic?
What, did you say it in English is what I want to know.
Yeah, and also, man, there's just so much shit to be talked about around that subject alone. It's like, why are Middle Easterners, why do they have like European names when like, you know what I mean? And how is the colonization? How is it that whenever I ask a Christian, have you ever read or heard of the Epic of Gilgamesh? They always say no. What's that? Oh, that's exactly what your religion is based on. What your Messiah is based on, you know? Oh, what? Nuh-uh. Yeah, you should check out like a synopsis on the Epic of Gilgamesh, and it'll show you all about Moses and fucking Jesus, basically. You know what I mean? And it's like,
and do they throw Muhammad in there too?
Yeah, every religion that comes after fucking that is based on it. You know what I mean? So it's literally like the oldest fucking story ever, and it's just, the similarities are almost absurd because they're so spot on. You know what I mean?
Well, when you're taking over a population, because like there used to be, you know, kind of like more invading wars back in the day, and like thousands of years ago, right? You know, like 1,500 years ago. But when you're taking over a population, and you know, religion is like a really strong thing, you got to conform kind of to them. Like we took over pagans, or Christians took over pagans, and now we have Christmas trees and Christmas, and which is a pagan tradition. But in order for it to be assimilated, it needed to take on characteristics of what it was assimilating. Kind of like the Borg.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get at.
That reminds me of something I was thinking of earlier this week, and I guess we'll just make this episode about this because might as well. Why not? Fuck it. When I was a kid, I never thought Santa wasn't real. until I met the Easter Bunny, which was a woman in a suit, and you could see her face. She was just in a bunny suit, and she had makeup on, like grease makeup on her face to kind of make like a bunny, like whiskers and nose or whatever. And my mom's like, we're gonna go see the Easter Bunny, and so we go see the Easter Bunny, and it's just this woman in a costume, and like it clicked in my head that all this shit is bullshit. And so when we got out to the car, I was like, my first question was, is Santa Claus real? And my mom's like, she was like, oh, the jig is up type of look, like, you know. And she was like, not now, you know, because my sisters were with us. And then later on, I asked her again, probably right as soon as we got home. And she basically was like, you obviously figured it out, like, Santa and the Easter Bunny aren't real. Well, is the Tooth Fairy real? No. Are leprechauns real? No. But is Santa real? No. Okay, so Santa's not real, right? Santa has all these godly powers. Is God real? That is like, it sent her into a motherfucking conniption fit when I said that shit. Like, I think I got hit across the face, like, instantly when I said that shit, if I can remember correctly. I know I got slapped across the face a lot as a kid, but I'm pretty sure she heard that and was like, wow, we don't say that shit, you know? And that, like, that right then was like, emotional over I was like, this is some bullshit. It was like, it solidified it right then. It was like whenever I told my sister, like, the next day, Mom told me Santa's not real. She fucking threw the same fucking conniption fit. You know what I mean? Like a 5-year-old fucking laying on the floor, beating her hands on and screaming. That's the type of shit, you know. It's just like, wow, it's kind of, you know, it shows you how people really are about the things that they want or need or believe in and shit. And to me, I don't get it. It doesn't even bother me. Like, if I find out something was not real, I'm like, well, I kind of had suspicion, but I wasn't sure. Or, man, I really wish that was real, you know. But a lot of times, someone will be like, hey, did you hear about this? And I'll look into it and I'll find out, hey, that ain't even a real thing, dude. Oh, fuck, that's not even real. And I'm kind of disappointed in it. But then there's times where I'm like,
I was really disappointed in David Copperfield. He would fly around on stage and shit. And I'll be like, oh, that's so cool. If I could just learn magic, I could do that. And, you know, then you learn it's just pulleys and string of some sort.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
yeah, so that's kind of like where I got to, where I was like, I was actually getting into magic because of that. I wanted to understand the illusions behind things and how things work, and, you know, and I feel like I would talk to people that I knew and ask them, you know, what do you think about this type of thing that's going on? I can't really think of anything specific. It's been fucking 25, 30 years since I talked to kids about anything, or young adults or whatnot, teenagers. But then you would always get, man, I don't even think about stuff like that, or, you know, it's just the way it is, or, you know, man, you need Jesus in your life. And it's like, you never get a real, get a real answer to what they believe or why they think they believe it or anything like that. It's just, I'll just do, you know. And they don't want to have a debate right there, so that's kind of understandable, right? No, it'd be like we'd all be sitting around talking about religion because like two of my closest friends, my very closest best friend for like 15 years, his grandpa ran a church. He's a World War II vet who came back here and opened a church when he got back because I guess he saw God or some shit. Because that's how he had to cope with his PTSD. Right, exactly. All right. No, that's exactly it. And my buddy, who I'm talking about, this motherfucker would constantly tell me how I need Jesus in my life. This motherfucker has cheated on every woman he's been with. He has kids but you just with all those women. You know? I've never heard him tell the truth. Like if it was me and him and someone else, that someone else never heard the truth from him, which makes me believe that I never heard the truth from him if someone else was in that situation, they're probably like, that motherfucker ain't been lying the whole fucking time.
Oh man, did you ever speak up? You probably ruined a friendship if you did.
This is the thing.
I don't know how.
This is the thing. One day, I actually wrote a blog about this. One day, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but we were in a situation where there was 3 of us, and 2 of them were talking shit about another guy that we hang out with, and that other guy is my probably 3rd best friend of all time. Like, the only reason we don't hang out is because he still hangs out with them. If he didn't hang out with them, I would be at his house every fucking day. But there's a 90% chance that one of them will show up at his house, so I can't be there. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that day I was like, dude, you're talking shit about my motherfucking friend, and you're supposed to be his friend too. What the fuck is up with that? What are you gonna do? Tell him? I'm gonna call him right fucking now and tell him, come over and we'll talk it out right the fuck in front of him. You know what I'm saying? And that caused a big, huge fucking issue. And then when I went to tell him, they had already contacted him, and I was the bad guy now. Because I'm making shit up. You know, it's like, I'm looking out for you. That kind of reminds me with so I realized
people
that
for the movement party, that Nick dude is getting like, you know, I mean, I don't know who's right or who's wrong, but it just really kind of seems that lies kind of win out often. And I remember getting fired once from Papa John's, and I was really emotional because, like, they said that I called somebody a slutty bitch. Now, there was some drama in the background, but, you know, and I do use both of those words kind of, like, separately. You know, I don't
well, slutty bitch just
use
sounds
slut as a negative.
Yeah, silly anyway. That's like childish, like you poopy head.
Well, yeah, they said that I was like sexually harassing somebody because I said that, and I was very emotional and I was crying because it was like bullshit, and I made a decision to like willingly leave and everything, and not like resist, which was really kind of stupid, but you know,
yeah, because in
the sex club shit,
in that situation,
shit is like.
I'm sorry. In that situation, I just want to interrupt just for a second. In that situation, it makes them believe that you must be in the wrong if you don't fight back. You know? Well, he didn't fight back or argue, so he must have done it, you know? But anyways.
It's taken me a while, but you definitely, like, if you're ever emotional, especially to the point of tears, you know, don't make any, you know, rash decisions at that time. You know, you got to give yourself, kind of train yourself to, you know, let you give you time to think and process and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm a walker away.
And it's not like, look, you got 50 seconds, you know, that's enough time for processing. My computer could like load in 20 seconds or whatever. No, you know, sometimes, like, I probably didn't process my dad's death for like a whole year. Like, it took a very long time for me to kind of, you know, process things. And it always takes me longer to like process things. And just like the sex club, they're like, oh yeah, he makes fun of sexual assault victims. Like, what? Like, and that was a total lie. But I handled it much better than I did in the past. You know, so I actually started off with like no leverage, no power, no leverage. And now I have 2 lawsuits towards the owner of this fucking shitty ass sex club. You know, so I think I went from a position of no power to having some sort of power and leverage. So I think I'm doing good.
Yeah, and
I've only done 4 protests.
I think that's
so far.
I think that's the best thing for basically anybody is if the cards are down, and okay, so there's 2 things you can do basically. I'm sure there's other, but the main things you could do is the chips are down. You either walk away, take a moment, you know, assess your feelings and how, you know, what you think about this idea, and then come back to it with a clear head and, you know, more of a better idea of how to deal with it, or to already have the experience to fucking deal with it, or, you know, to just fucking go through it and get it done and come out of it, you know, having learned whatever it is or whatever. But for some reason, I feel like a lot of people can't head on anything. You know what I'm saying? It's always running away. It's okay. So me, I'm the type of person, if you get me to a level of so pissed, I'm like the Hulk. I'm an unstoppable beast that can't be reasoned with, and I'll break everything in sight. And that's probably the thing that scares people about me the most. And I've heard people say I'm the scariest person they know, and I know murderers, you know, and they have murderers in their family, you know, so it's like, whoa, I'm the scary guy. But it's because I rant and I rave and I throw a fit about certain things that are unnecessary or that are necessary to someone's safety or something like that. And I feel like there's certain things that need to be fought for, and then there's certain things that shouldn't even be thought of, let alone fought for, you know. So like going back to what you're talking about, like traditions, I fucking can't stand Christmas trees. I fucking hate them. There's always shit on. I like to look at them. They're cool looking. If there's one across the street in someone's neighbor's house, I'll be like, oh, that's neat. But I don't want one in my fucking house. The cat knocks it over. The balls break. I fucking step on glass. Fucking got fucking tinsel in between my toes somehow. It's like just fucking ridiculous. And if it was out for like a week, like the week before Christmas and came down the day after Christmas, I'd be fine. But a month and a half, 2-3 months of fucking having to walk around it, and it's glaring on the TV, and I'm trying to watch it. And like, you know what I mean? There's all these little fucking issues. So I just like, you know what? Why do we have to have a Christmas tree? We're not even, we don't even really celebrate Christmas. We give each other gifts, but we don't care outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Do we have to have a Christmas tree? For all I give a fuck, we could have a little, like, a cardboard cutout of a Christmas tree or a photo of a Christmas tree hanging on the wall, and I would be fine with that, you know? But my girlfriend,
it's kind of creepy though too, because you have that tree that's like you just cut it completely down and it's dying, and I think you could actually like save the tree still at that point. Like there's like cloning gel or something to kind of inspire roots, and it could be replanted. But
that's not like a normal thing. It would be really tough.
Yeah, we just
to
cut
do
it down and like let it sit there, and we just decorate it. Like we decorate this carcass.
Well, we
like,
just have a plastic tree that we've had for fucking since we've known each other, and it's just sitting in the basement in a box, taking up room. And it's okay. What my point really was is, it's something that's unnecessary to my life, and it just makes a bunch of stupid little inconveniences. And I don't hate it. It's just fucking annoying. You know what I'm saying? It's just like having to deal with something that I don't care about all the time. It's like if you had like a neighbor's cat that the neighbor didn't feed, so you end up feeding the cat and you end up petting him all the time, and you basically are take care of this cat that you don't want. And it's like, I don't have time for this shit, you know? So it's kind of like that, I guess.
Well, I was thinking like Americans, like, you know, unfortunately I don't have a house and probably will never own one in my life, but, you know, we should invent another room. You know, they have like the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, bedroom. You know, we should do the tradition room. And that's where you put all these, you know, like Christmas trees and, you know, the Easter shit in the corner. And then, like, it's the room that you spend time in when it's, like, Halloween or Christmas or Thanksgiving. And you decorate it with all the little traditions and shit. You know, and then that's a room now, nothing is laying in boxes. It's all out there. It's all decorative. And we don't need to cut down trees, like you said. You had a plastic tree.
Yeah.
My grandmother had a plastic tree.
You know what I call that room?
Nice.
I call that room the school room. When I went to school, we had like a poster of a pumpkin and a poster of a witch and a poster of a black cat. You know what I mean? And that was it. It wasn't like a bunch of bullshit. You know, it was like maybe one of those things where you strip like a stringer of some sort, like black and orange, and that's it. One little thing, you know, for Halloween. And it's like, that's plenty, and it's not even necessary either. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows what season is when's what day. Like, there's countdown timers to most fucking traditional holidays, you know? And then you know what's really crazy? I would say out of the 70% of people that I know that are hardcore religionists or fucking into their Christianity or whatever the fuck, like half of those people, so like 35% of the people I know, don't even actually celebrate that shit. You know, they argue against it, but then they don't have anything to do with it. And it's like, well, if you're sitting it out, why the fuck do you have anything to fucking say about it? You know, it's like, I know a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't do anything. They don't celebrate their children's birthdays or anything. They don't.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. My buddy, this guy that I knew, he's a really good guy, but his wife, I think he was an atheist or agnostic, but he was like, his wife was, I think she was a Native American. I was going to say she was Hispanic, but I think she was actually Native American. She ended up becoming the Jehovah's Witness. Then they got married, and they had a couple kids together, and they were like 9 and 12. And he's like, my 12-year-old keeps asking me about video games, but I've never had a video game. He's like 15 years older than me, so video games weren't even a thing when he was a kid. So he's like, I don't really know what, I don't really want to, I want to get my kids a video game, but I can't have it in our house. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, my wife won't allow it. And plus, I can't really get it for like as a gift. I would have to be like, oh, I found this. And I was like, you want to find a Wii and like 12 games and a bunch of accessories in a box on the side of the road? I'll bring it to you tomorrow. You know what I mean? He's like, no, I can't do that. I was like, we have 2 of them. My daughter doesn't even play it anymore. I'll buy hers from her for like $35 and give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Which pretty much ended up buying her games and giving them to him, because he ended up finding one for like $20 from somewhere, and he gave it to his kid. And then he asked me like a couple days later, hey, you want that Wii I just bought? I'll give it to you for like $20. I was just like, well, I don't need it.
To get rid of it.
I was like, you could just give it to someone around here that has a kid, because we already had 2 of them anyway. And so it was just like, he wanted to do things for his kid, but isn't really allowed to because of the religiosity of his wife. And what does that do to his kid? You know what I'm saying? Oh, my dad loves me. He wants to get me video games, and my mom doesn't want me to have them, and all my friends have them, and they're, you know what I mean? A Wii? It's not like he could even, I mean, yeah, there's games like Resident Evil and shit like that, but most of those games are like fucking Mario type games, and you know what I mean, little kid games.
Kid friendly, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I could see if you wanted an Xbox or a PlayStation, where most of those games are like shooting or whatever, but it's
even Super Smash Brothers isn't that violent. You just like knock people off the platform, really, and maybe
I can even see like, okay, yeah, if I was a religious mom, I probably wouldn't want my kid playing a fighting game, but Mario, fucking Sonic Racing, shit like that, Mario Kart, you know, just like Mario and its Sonic Olympics, and there's like fucking, I could literally just go on and on about like games geared toward 8-year-olds, you know. But
yeah, it kind of still blows my mind that there's Sonic on a Nintendo console, but that's the way Sega went.
Yeah, I wish that didn't happen. I wish Sega was still around as a console maker, but you know, shit goes the way it goes. But my real point is those type of traditions create this weird, it's not really a cultural thing. It's like, I guess it might be a cultural thing.
Person, sort of.
Yeah, it allows people. It allows people to punish themselves, to be miserable and wallow in it. And I don't know. I feel like when I was a kid and I saw my parents doing that, I was just like, I can't do this to my kids when I get older. Like, no matter how much I believe or don't. Back then, it was probably when I still did believe somewhat, or tried to believe. And, you know, like, I always thought. But
you were like, well, I want to be more reasonable than they're being right now, you know?
Yeah, because
especially when you got whacked in the head.
Yeah.
Questioning.
I don't even remember if my daughter and I ever even had that conversation, whether or not Santa Claus is real, because it's like an unnecessary thing. As soon as she realized Santa ain't real, he's not real. So there's no like argument, you know? Whereas I think she thought Santa might be real for a little bit longer because I kind of made it magical for her, but I didn't push it on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do that Santa's watching you, better be good type of shit. It was on Christmas morning, she would wake up with a picture of Santa standing in our living room with a picture of him eating the cookies that she left out in front of her Christmas tree with all her gifts around, because I photoshopped him in. You know what I mean? So, and she didn't know. She didn't know no better. So to her, it was real. You know, Santa, I have a picture of Santa. He was in our house. You know, so that, you know, that was more magical. Photo? Yeah, exactly. He has a magical camera, babe. I don't know. How did he get in our house? We didn't break the locks. We don't have a chimney. You know, he got a magical key or something. You know, it's magic.
Teleported it.
You know, but if she would have came to me and like, Dad, is Santa real? No, but I had fun fucking with you though. You know, so
my dad did that conversation to me when I was like 14 or something, or yeah, like 10 or 9.
Shit,
not 14.
I think I was like
it's hard to remember.
I think I was like 6 or 7, and my, you know, I was like, that's bullshit. And my mom would be like, you don't tell your Santa doesn't come if you tell your sisters, you know. So fuck, like
yeah, mom and dad won't get you presents if you don't. You know?
But my first thing was Santa ain't real. Santa ain't real. Trying to dig it into them, but they, you know, they didn't give a fuck. You know, they just wanted gifts, whatever. I still feel like they don't really think about that type of shit. It's like I always wondered when they got out on their own the first time Santa didn't come for them, was it like, oh, you know what I mean? Like when they're like 18, like how does that happen to people? Is there anybody who grows up to an adult and then gets out on their own and goes, well, fuck, Santa didn't come this year. You know what I mean? Like,
and these are people that probably were raised in a very religious household.
Yeah, and that doesn't even make sense, because doesn't that like negate like God? Because I had that guy I was talking about that had the pastor as a grandpa. He told me when we were kids, he was like, I'm never going to teach my kids about Santa Claus because I don't want to give Santa the credit for the gifts that I get my kid, and I don't want them thinking that you know, God isn't real because of it. And I'm just like, but you got it figured out, but you just not pressing the equal button. You know, you got the whole equation written out, but you just got to hit that equal button, dog. You know, I don't know.
Well, it's the way we're raised, you know, in America, you know, and which we're raised, you know, there's smart people, there's stupid people, but we're kind of mostly taught to like conform. Yeah, well, I think that's true for most societies, but like American society, we're all like, you know, God.
There's certain things that need
Catholic, so all that.
There's certain things that need conformity, like, education, like at least lower education, like grade school, you know, junior high. That needs to be somewhat, you know, homogenized, I
conforming,
guess. Yeah, you got to kind of, everyone needs to kind of conform to that type of thing. And then you get like homeschooling, and then you get a bunch of Christian kids that are super smart but also super stupid as fuck, you know. So it's because they can be taught one-on-one, but they also get taught other bullshit that negates their actual education. You know, so
I have a really early memory of, and I just saw it on Tubi last night, and that got me thinking, because like I have a really, really early memory, and I remember it was airing on TV, and my family sat around and watched it, and it was that TV series V with the like lizard people and shit. And that was aired in 1984, and I'm like, oh shit, I was 3 years old then, and I fucking remember that shit. Like it's a very, you know, like I had no details to the memory. I just remember V, and maybe some of the actors look familiar, but I don't know if that's a memory or if I've seen them from a different movie. You know.
Well, that main character was in a lot of stuff around that time, and then not much after that. The main dude.
He was like an 80s star, huh?
Yeah. I actually, it's been a while, but about 8 or 10 years ago, I went through and watched the first season, but I couldn't find the second. I think there was 2 or 3 seasons, and then I ended up finding
I think they did 2
Alien Nation and
seasons.
watching it again. What's that?
But both of them are on Tubi right now. The V, and I just like noticed they have the first season, so I don't know if they have the second season, but then
Maybe,
they have
maybe
that
there was only
reboot
one season.
Well, they have V 1984, and then there's the V 2011.
Oh yeah, okay. Then they
did.
tried to yeah. See, I think that's when. Yeah, it was about 10 years ago when they brought that back, and I was like, oh, I want to watch the old one, and get refamiliarized with it. And then I think that other season got like canceled in the middle of it or something, or the newer one.
I don't know, like, all these stupid TV shows, get you more views than something that could have been decent. Now, I don't know if the writing sucked or anything. I've never really seen them, but I'm just like, that's kind of how shit works, like in like our entertainment media. Like we have almost a dozen Saw movies, and we only have one Alita Battle Angel. And I know Alita, like, there's some cheesy
I love
stuff
that
in there,
though. I'm applauding that fucking comment because that's perfect. The first Saw movie was amazing. The second one was The third and everything after has been like, what the fuck is this garbage? And then we get like an amazing action adventure movie that people have been fawning over left and right. And it just gets no notoriety, and it's just it amazes me. It puts me into a bewildered state, I guess. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I know they're going to have problems with the second Alita because, like, the structure of that first movie was like perfect, and it's kind of hard to top that. But maybe we shouldn't be thinking about topping it, but just coming along with a decent, story. And and there's stuff to criticize, like when they had their first encounter, and Alita thought that the doctor dude was going to murder somebody. Right. And shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, well the enemies, the bad guys, could have killed that doctor dude a couple times, but they just like focused on Alita instead, and that was kind of cheesy. And maybe they should have like written a different part in there, like where the doctor dude did something.
Maybe they can kill him off and give her a reason for more of a revenge type plot, or I don't know.
Well, that character, the doctor character, was cool. I kind of like, like he's helping out people and he's doing shit for free. Like he came into the bar and he's like, "No more free repairs if you don't stop fighting." Right. That was and then Alita did that last little kick, and like, after she kicked the dude, she's like looking down and kind of moving her head down, like, "Whoops." That was kind of funny, but most of the writing was really like good. I just think they could have like tweaked it, like right there, did something. Whether they killed him off or he did something like towards the end, Alita's boyfriend, tosses that grenade thing that sets the bounty hunter on fire. The doctor could have done something like that to kind of put some space in between, the bad guys and himself, because the bad guys could have totally taken him out, but they're just like focusing on the chick.
Right. But also, just a slight argument for that is you got to have some tension in movies, and not everybody can be perfect, and not everybody is also out to destroy the bad guy. They might, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times running seems like fleeing is the best option. So people aren't the good guy is usually more about fleeing or talking it out, as opposed to just instantly trying to destroy the bad guy, so I can see that where you got to keep that tension going between the bad guy and the good guy, whereas the good
he was the bounty hunter, and they were the ones with bounties on them. So like, like he's going out to hunt for money, right? And
I'm saying from the perspective of the good guy, from like the doctor not being in, like, not doing something to separate the characters. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of leave
Yeah.
certain things open so that you keep the audience guessing. Well, will they be able to get him because he didn't do something, or will that come back on him?
That chick with the knife arms wanted his eyes, and she just like walks past him to go attack Alita after Alita fucks up that first bad guy, and it's like you could have just like totally stabbed him and then walked off to Alita.
Yeah, I know. I know that. There's a lot of shit like that in a lot of movies, but let's think about it like this. Okay, Terminator 1, it was a great movie. A lot of people loved it. It was kind of more of a cult classic because it was kind of a dark horror action.
Yeah,
but then Terminator 2 comes out and it's an action epic, and people to this day still say it's better. I really like the first one myself, and sometimes I feel like the second one's better. Just depends on kind of the mood I'm in. But look what they did. They made two completely different movies, and they're both amazing classics. So I feel like any movie can be made, any characters, any set or story of any set of characters or story can be expanded into much more than it is, and it doesn't have to stick directly to the genre. Look at Alien. Alien was they call it like a funhouse horror movie. Aliens was a straight up action movie. You know what I'm saying? So and it has the same similar feel, the same type of bad guy.
Well, hopefully Alita could pull that shit off.
So that's what I'm saying. It's there's always a possibility. It's just how well they juggle everything together. And with as well as they did with the first one, even though I think a lot of those decisions have to do with the studio trying to dumb it down for fucking dumber ass audiences, which they don't realize that audiences are smarter than they are, really, because they're trying to sell tickets to fucking 8-year-olds, but they don't realize these 8-year-olds could fucking write better scripts, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the one thing about Alita is, like, I think she should have jumped down and told her boyfriend to jump down when that blade was coming, because they would have had enough height to clear the blade had they like jump downward instead of trying to jump upward on the cable. Not jumping down into the city, but just jumping down on the cable would have given them more height, you know. And I think that was an unforeseen thing of the writing, you know.
Or maybe that was
play
specific.
It off as, like, it was in the moment and they made a mistake.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Or it was just specific, giving you, oh, they could just do that, and then they don't. Meaning it changes your expectations of what can happen now. And that, because you thought something else was going to happen and then it didn't, and then what the fuck could happen now, you know? Oh, are they going to die? Or you know, so it's just, I write scripts, so I understand why those mistakes are there in certain movies, and I understand that you can't have your shit on like a genius level either, because then people need that suspension of disbelief. That's why they go to a movie, to see something that is out of reality. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I get what you're saying for sure, because there's a lot of tiny little nitpicky mistakes you can find in everything. But for certain things, they have to set it up that way. Like, God damn it, this is the 5th Scream movie and the bitch is running up the stairs, and they say it in every fucking movie. Don't run up the stairs, and the bitch is running up the stairs. But then something happens, you know, like a guy comes out the closet and she turns around and runs back down the stairs, and now she's running out the front door like she should have. But, you know, just because it just a little, just enough to fucking get you thinking, oh, but then they change the, you know, the course, you know, or fucking maybe he comes out and stabs her right at the top of the stairs, and, you know, or whatever. I'm just making shit up because, you know, I don't want to spoil anything. But it's just, there's certain expectations that you kind of expect out of a movie, but then there's a certain amount of, you have to change that for people. You know what I'm saying? For them to actually believe that it's this unbelievable thing is happening. And, and to maybe put them in that position. What's that?
I do Alita really did it. Like, I kind of, you know, enjoyed most of the movie, but then when I do my rewatches and I start getting critical, I think of those two main things that I brought up. That alleyway fight scene, they could have totally fucked up the doctor, and jumping down instead of jumping up. Like, you know, like Alita, like she's all doing these like perfect moves, you know, most of the time and everything. And then she, you know, I just don't think that she would not have thought to warn him really quick. You know, when she saw the blades, be like, jump down, don't jump up. Like, just say that really quick. But, you know, that's the more minor of the one. The more major one, and is the alleyway scene. Like that, there should have been just kind of something in there to maybe put distance, or if they killed them off, you'll need to rewrite the script and maybe have the nurse attach Alita to the body, the new body. But yeah, that's a good actor. I do like that one actor that plays the doctor. He's always hitting the nail on the head with any part that he plays in, whether he's that fucking Nazi in Glorious Bastards, in Django. You know, he was that awesome bounty hunter. Yeah,
he's got a weird name.
A very good actor.
The reason why you can't think of his name is because it's like a German name or something. It's like Slelven or some shit like that. It's a weird fucking...
Yeah, he's really cool. Like he even in the James Bond movie, you know, he plays the part, you know, just perfectly.
Even when he's playing the good guy.
I can't say the writing is the best, but he plays, you know, he does what he's given.
Yeah, right. And here's something. I hate when people do that. The acting was this person has so much potential and blah blah blah. It's like, you've seen them do good in other movies, so obviously it was the direction, you fucking doofy reject. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Like Spectre was a little silly with the whole like photos of James, you know, as he's walking through the building towards the end, and it's this overly elaborate fucking thing for James Bond, and it's just, that was a little silly. But that was the writing. That's
the one I have not seen yet. That and the newest one. Spectre was the last one before this newest one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't seen this one.
You'll probably like the last one the best. The writing in that, it was a little bit better than Spectre.
A lot of people
got a little crazy towards the end.
A lot of people didn't like the Casino Royale remake. I thought it was great. The next one came out, Quantum of Solace. People fucking bitched about it, and I thought the ending was kind of weird, but I thought it was good throughout. The action was great, I think you really get more into James Bond's head in that movie because he's dealing with loss for the first time. You know what I mean? Like the first time you really feel like oh fuck, he's in a funk, he's depressed. A woman died in front of him and he really cared for her that time. And, you know, you get that, you feel for James in that movie. You know, he's less of a I'll smack a bitch type of guy, you know.
And he ended up finding the girl's, Vesper's boyfriend that kind of like set her up, and he saved another woman.
Right. So, and that one, that's like, I feel like that movie was the one that actually I felt like you really can connect to the character of James Bond himself, and less of just the, wow, this is a great action movie, you know. Granted, he always had some things that you can connect to, but at the same time, a lot of that shit's like glorified fucking masculinity type shit. But also, he's a bad motherfucker. He's like a ninja with a gun and a bunch of cool laser Batman toy type bullshit. You know, he's basically Batman without the dumbass suit. But not saying Batman's suit is dumb. I'm just saying, like, that suit is kind of dumb when you're fighting and shit, you know. That's all.
Well, there was a lot of fighting scenes in there that he had to like send off like bad guys, and that was like because the other James Bond movies, like the earlier ones, there was always some convenient gadget to get him out of, you know, maybe he'll just do a little bit of fighting, but he'll put distance between him and bad guys and make his escape. You know, is normally how the formula went. But in this one, it was a little more gritty. It was a little, you know, darker, and
he got tortured,
a lot more fighting.
Yeah, and all that shit. Yeah, so
and the Skyfall was even like darker, but you know, there was stupid mistakes in that because, like, you know, towards the end where they're like using the flashlights and shit in the field. And I know, because the movie needs to happen and this needs to happen in a certain way. But, they probably could have wrote that better because these people work in the intelligence community. You telling me that you're trying to make an escape and you're taking a secret tunnel a half mile away and you're going to use the full brightness of the flashlight. You know, you're not going to try to cover it up and make a tiny beam so people can't see it across the field. You're going to fucking just full on flashlight. Okay.
Well, if you don't have if you don't have one of those infrared covers for it, it doesn't matter, because one little beam, one tiny ass beam and one big ass beam of light are still a beam of light in the darkness. Like a candle, you can see a candle from 5 miles away. So I don't know if you can make that
shit really tiny, man.
Well, you can, yes.
You can make that shit.
Yeah, and also your eyes really adjust pretty quickly too. So I don't know.
I mean, there was a big fire over there. Like, just got done blowing up the house. So it's like, you probably, like, if you made the beam really tiny, you probably wouldn't have been able to see it. But okay, like, the movie needs to happen and needs to happen. The woman is injured. Maybe she's not thinking clearly. All right. But I just thought that was like, okay, these guys are spies. And regardless if she's injured or not, you wouldn't make a stupid mistake like that. And you got to see a little bit. Because I remember, like, there was this one book that I read. It was like Someone Cry for the Children, and it was based on like a true story that like this guy would go around like to these like camps and shit and like murder like little girls and shit and rape them.
What movie is this?
Murderer used. It was a book that I read in jail.
Oh, okay.
Someone Cry for the Children is the title of it.
And but
anyway, and that creep would fucking do, like use a flashlight, but he would cover up the flashlight and make a tiny hole,
like
to let a little bit of light out, so then he could, So the just like a little bit of light, so he could kind of see and move around. And it's like, well, okay, that's creepy of a serial killer rapist to do, but also child molester, but also like that seems something that would be common knowledge in the intel community too, with spies. And if you're in a dark area,
maybe they just
and you got to see, but you don't want to be seen. Get some fabric, rip it off, or cover it with your hand or something like that. Like something, just anyway, that. Yeah, it didn't make me not suspend my disbelief, but upon rewatching the fucking movies, it's like, yeah, that was really, really fucking stupid. And it even gets criticized with the honest trailers or the pitch meetings or whatever. They're like, yeah, and when you're making your escape, make sure you use a flashlight so the enemies could see you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's certain things written into movies on purpose to, to show that people aren't perfect, and that even the good guy, the superhero or whoever, might make a mistake. And that even if one little mistake may not be the end of everything, and they also have to kind of write it in a way that makes sure that the bad guy can catch up with the good guy for one final conflict. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard to keep writing new fucking shit that, you know what I mean? She's running from the bad guys in the dark. Well, we can't see her. You know what I mean? We can't see what's going on. Well, let's give her a flashlight. They don't think, doesn't that give everything away? Well, you just kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like if they really filmed a scene out in the dark woods or whatever, you wouldn't see shit. You know what I'm saying? Someone running through the woods, you'd hear them, whatever.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't see a fucking goddamn thing. But when they got a flashlight and it's swiping back and forth across the screen, and you see fucking every once in a while you get a glimpse of some detail, and then all of a sudden you see like a figure standing next to a tree for like a split second. Some shit's about to happen, and then some shit happens, and you're just like, ooh, I saw it, and you get into it, and you're on the edge of your seat, but you're not in the middle. You normally wouldn't be thinking, oh, well, the bad guy's just going to see the flashlight and walk right toward it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So it's kind of like...
quite on, like, now I'm thinking about this a little bit more. It's like the fire from that house would have lit up that field.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The eyes would
have
have adjusted without it. That's what I was saying. A candle, just a lit candle in the middle of nowhere. You could see it 5 miles away in the dark, or up to, you know what I'm saying, easily from a mile away.
Yeah, but if there was like a burning
a
house
giant burning
from that
house
candle,
would light the, it's a beacon of light. So, radiant light coming out around it. So, yeah, I don't know. I've seen house fires and it lights up the neighborhood, Well,
yeah.
So that's all, that's all I was getting at on that. Is they could have, you're right, they could have written around that without it, but then they'd have to change a lot about it. Maybe not a lot, but maybe that was their best workaround to keep it cheaper or something somehow, to save a day of filming or you know what I mean? Like, who's to say they don't have another scene that they cut where it was completely different and they just for time cut it.
Come on, there's supposed to be some brilliant tech guy. Like, can't you have a drone with the infrared camera on it? Like one that you could carry, right? And this guy could be like, okay, where'd they go? And I'm taking this drone and it's going to go 200 feet in the air and it's going to look 360 degrees around and see any.
Or fuck that, deploy a drone that has a flashlight that flies off into the woods somewhere that makes it look like your flashlight is. You know what I mean? Have it with a scanning ass flashlight that flaps back and forth and moves. So now they're following your drone and you get off. You know what I mean? So, but I'm just saying, like, then that would change the end.
He planned. Well, just to figure out where she is. Like, he planned that elaborate escape from MI6, and so like when he planned this attack and his helicopter crashed and shit, like. Or he got blown up because the house blew up, then he should have maybe reached on his back, because attached to his back, in a backpack or something, would be like a little drone. And he's like, okay, fucking a little portable drone. And he's like, okay, I need to find out where they went. And
they have a drone.
Would be a way to do it without having the stupid flashlight in there,
I just saw an advertisement for a phone. I don't know if it's like a thing yet, but it's like, this could be our technology real soon type of shit. Like, we're working on this. It's a phone that has a little tiny, like, 4-inch detachable drone. Like, it's like half the length of the phone. So like,
I think it's a scam, and it holds the phone in the air.
No, it's just a camera on the drone, and then it makes your phone into like the controller. So you can see what it's seeing. So, but it's just a micro drone. It's like, I've seen drones that small before too, so I know it can be done. It's literally, imagine if you had like a cartridge slot on the bottom of your phone, and you just could slide in a little like 1/2-inch thick or maybe 3/8 inch thick drone into it, like a little CD-ROM cartridge type thing, and then you pop it out, and it's got the 4 little fans on it, and you could like, but then that right there, could you imagine how much trouble people could get into with that shit?
Well, yeah, that definitely the eavesdropping law.
Yeah, like all the type of shit you could do with that. So I don't know if it's, I actually, I don't think it was an ad that I saw. I think it was an article that was talking about an ad that, that was available. And they were like critiquing all the stuff that the positive.
I thought you were talking
negatives.
about this tiny, like, hand-sized drone that holds your phone, and it will like hold it like perfectly, like a foot away from your face and shit.
No,
like, that's why I'm like, that's a scam. But what you just
that's
described,
craziness.
like South Park did in like a decade ago, or almost a decade ago, in one of their episodes with the drones and everything. And Cartman had the smartphone that he was controlling the drone with that had a camera on it.
Right, but that I have that. I have a DJI where I can connect it to my phone through Bluetooth and fly it up to like 5 kilometers away. It has like this sick ass remote you plug the phone into, but this is actually like, it's the phone itself is a cartridge slot, like it's the console, and then
that sounds just kind of stupid.
The drone
though. Like, it should be
it.
attached to like the shoulder or the arm, the upper arm.
Well, imagine
like the drone.
Imagine a Game Boy.
Like this back.
Imagine a Game Boy.
Yeah,
how there's a little
know.
cartridge slot on the back, and then the cartridge pulls out? It would be like that, but the cartridge is the drone type of thing. But obviously, it's a lot thinner than that, like the phone's a little fatter than a normal phone, but it's not like huge wide like my iPhone's pretty fucking wide. I can barely hold on to it, but it's not quite as wide. It's more
it with
thick.
magnets and make magnets retract on the base, the thing that's holding it.
I mean,
so that base would need to have a little bit of power too, and then it could be. I think maybe something more practical, like especially in video games. If you had this in video games, it would be some companion that's like attached to your shoulder, and you got to release the drone.
That might have been where they implemented these ideas for. There's a lot of. I don't know how the tech works, but I know that it's possible with the shit that we have. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have small drones, we have giant ass phones, we can control drones with our phones. So I mean, I don't see why all of that can't be combined. I'm sure someone said that, hey, why can't we just combine it all and make it into one thing? Because I've seen there's an app you can get for this certain drone. It's like a little hand, it's like one that can land on your hand, but basically it programs it to, you wear this like head mount, and it's got like, I don't know if it's like a reflector or like a radio receiver or something. It's like a headband or a hat or something, and I think
so the drone knows where.
Yeah, so the drone literally just stays in front of you. If you turn your head to walk, it stays like 3 feet in front of you, and it's like a little blogging camera or whatever, so you can like walk through the city and talk to your camera, and it is badass. I've never seen one in use, but I saw a video of one being used, and it looked pretty cool. But if they can do that,
hopefully it's not a scam, because a lot of
it was definitely real. I'm pretty sure it was a DJI product, so I'm about 999% sure that it's real. But if they have that technology, and this was like 5-6 years ago, and it was like a 5 or 6 inch droid in a similar manner, I'm sure they could do one a 3-inch droid, or drone. I'm sorry.
Well, that would definitely be put to use for military applications, but instead of like 3 feet ahead, it will go like 100 feet ahead or something, and give maybe a view for the troops on the ground where the enemies are at.
Yeah, that'd be cool as hell, instead of putting a person out there in front. Yeah.
Well, just not to shoot them down or anything, but like
just to check out the situation.
Thing.
Yeah,
really small.
Yeah. Well, normally they would just send the smallest, fastest, quietest guy, go check up real fast, send him out 100 yards ahead and make sure, and then he comes back, it's all clear. Nope, there's posts here and there and blah blah blah, 2 clicks out there's this and that and blah blah, you know what I mean? So
yeah. But speaking of military technology, I was thinking, like, I mentioned it to TJ, and I was like, I'll mention it to you when we talk again, and we never talked again. So I think it was in the last little chat that we did, or maybe I messaged him about it. But I was like, well, I got a solution for, like, the mech suits and everything that we're always trying to make for the military, and the power issues that they have. And instead of encasing the whole human body, you just kind of protect one side, or a little bit, on a little bit more than just on the front, maybe a little bit on the sides, and have this machine have the ability to kind of like reposition the armor plates to kind of protect the side or the back if you're like retreating or something.
Like flaps, little flaps that can flap from around to the
It's like a simple rotation and a simple shape. And that will cut down on a lot of the weight that they need this power for. But you will need to have a computer on board. But what you lose in the weight, you make up for with a smart computer. And we already have that with all these smart devices and tiny microchips. And the smaller that it is, the less power consuming it is. So you can have these super fast processors that don't require a lot of power. And that would be the solution. Instead of encasing the whole human body, you just kind of do like a little more than 180 degrees, maybe 200 degrees of protection in the front. And I think that would be really helpful. Not that we should be doing these wars. I was just thinking of a solution to the mech thing a long time ago, years and years. This has been rattling around in my head, probably like since I started this whole president thing.
I think if we have mech suits, the only thing they should really be used for is like lifting and building and like I saw I don't know what fucking movie it was.
They could build a moon base.
Yeah, they could build a moon base with these motherfucking things or whatever. But yeah, I don't think we should have. Honestly, I don't think we should have fucking soldiers. And secondly, we shouldn't be having wars. And and like the whole fucking like humanity is not gonna fucking last if all we do is fucking constantly fucking fight. I get that there could be conflict. Like me and my girlfriend, we yell at each other here and there because, you know, we don't see eye to eye on certain shit. But I could never see fucking hurting her or harming her because we just fucking figure out what's the best compromise. You know what I'm saying? We've split up a few times.
Yeah, but you're in a loving relationship
for a long time.
You know, like
we've split up for months at a time on several occasions, on at least 3 occasions that I can think of, for several months at a time because of issues that we had problems, you know, we didn't see eye to eye on. And then, you know, we both grew up and saw better eye to eye. You know, we may not agree completely, but we can understand where the other person's coming from, type of shit, you know. So obviously we're not going to agree on everything, but the things we agree on are the things that matter to us most, you know. And when we get in arguments, it's usually about other people's bullshit, you know what I'm saying? You know, so shit that really don't even matter to us personally, you know. And
yeah, well, I mean, I could totally, like, the conflict that's going on with Russia right now, and I'm like, well, first of all, we don't really have a right to really talk about this stuff, because we've invaded so many other countries and broken so many treaties, even, like, you know, here in America with the Native Americans. And so, like, we keep on building military bases closer and closer to Russia. And
yeah, I saw
Ukraine is kind of propped up by America. It's like if Russia kind of installed a bunch of pro-Russia people in Mexico.
Yeah, and
you
Canada,
know, then you started building bases around there. You know, and
all the Bahamas and all that. Yeah,
you get a reaction out of America for that. Like you know, definitely maybe the same sort of reaction. And we'll all be two-faced about it. We're like, oh, how dare Russia do that? But then we're totally justified in doing this exact same thing. You know, it's like, what?
Yeah, I saw that map with the, like, all the military bases, the temporary and permanent ones, and literally every fucking country surrounding Russia has American military bases except for China and Canada. And the ones that are not...
Well, Canada's like right next door to us.
Well, I'm just saying, we're on the border of Canada. We have military bases just lined across Canada. But we don't have any specifically in there. But we have them in every country other than those two, China and Canada. You know what I'm saying? Which we don't really need one in Canada because basically they're like America light anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I would say... Canadians are probably better off than most Americans because of their economy and a couple of their laws, but then we have a couple laws and stuff that are, you know, a little better here. But it's like we're like the big brother type, and they're, you know, and they're the little brother, and they kind of have to do what we say, or what are they gonna fucking do? You know what I'm saying? They're not like a huge military power. They're not no fucking nobodies though, you know. But at the same time, they're not doing shit like Russia and fucking Korea, or is it North Korea? Yeah. So it's...
Yeah, North Korea.
Yeah, it's not like they're doing shit like that. But at the same time, look at us. What the fuck? You know? We posture and fucking beat those war drums, you know what I'm saying? Fucking saber rattle at all these countries. Like, we're gonna do this, and then we don't do shit. You know? And then it's like, who the fuck are we? You know? I don't know.
Well, it makes a lot of people money too. The constant war, or like we're given weapons, and so like we gave weapons, so we got to produce more weapons because we got to have a certain amount for whatever reasons, you know. And a lot of people make a lot of money off that. Even the people that maybe are in the assembly line, you know, building this stuff. And those are the people that are stand to lose money if I ever get taken seriously, like with the whole president thing that I want to do. But the other side of that argument is like we're making millions of people poor and miserable. So me coming after the weapon manufacturers and people that profit off it, sure, you're going to make less money. And I don't think they want to think of it as.
But here's the thing: like those factory workers don't have to be making guns and bullets and bombs and fucking flak jackets and whatever the fuck, you know, and Humvee armor and whatnot. They could be fucking making maybe American-made cell phones or fucking
American-made dildos.
Dildos, yeah, whatever the fuck it is, something that's more productive than fucking murdering people on the other side of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's just
making kids fear clear skies, huh? You don't want to do that?
Like,
are you saying
like they could literally be working in a factory that's printing books instead of fucking work, you know, being adjacent to an organization or people that want to ban certain books, you know? Maybe we can like flip this shit and get something going where we're not pushing our production toward fucking the end of the world or fucking massive genocides and shit, you know? Like maybe fucking teach the kids that we've been teaching kids for a long time that they are the future, but how can we do that when we're literally killing off adults that are, you know, that they will be growing into, you know? It's like we don't see the shit. We as civilization can't see that we're ruining everything like 40 years before it happens. Like all this shit is a culmination of well, if you remember the 80s, so like 30 years ago, we were having the same exact conversation that's going on now. Obviously, it would be our parents or whatever, but they were going through this same fucking shit when we were like 5-10 years old. And look where it got us. It literally got us nowhere. We've been doing the same thing for...
But it made
people are like, well, if you go back 20 years,
like,
it's the same way. No, if you go back 40 years, it's the same way. 60 years, it's the same way. 70, 80.
Well,
it just keeps going.
Sliver a lot of money is what it does. It's like, so it doesn't accomplish most things for most people, but it accomplishes something for those select few that win because of, you know, all this production.
I keep hearing, well, it puts a lot of people in a good way because of all that production. Yeah, but all that production could be done on something else that, you know, is more necessary. Like maybe they could manufacture,
like building houses.
Or I was going to say manufacturing bricks or working in lumber yards or something. Yeah, because there's so many more things that need done. Like maybe build fucking concrete factories so we could get our fucking roads fucking paved, or asphalt factory. I don't know what the fuck is made out of, but you know what I'm saying. Like, however,
something more productive than bombs.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many fucking things out there that we need taken care of here or wherever, or we could help other countries with that shit. You know what I'm saying?
People are so propagandized though; they can't like really see those solutions clearly. Like my buddy Jeff is totally fawning over this one chick in Israel and shit, and he just like does Facebook, and he's homeless, and currently, you know, now he's jobless, so he does like nothing but like Facebook and all that Facebook propaganda. And he was like bitching at me, like, you know, about this chick in Israel that he's like fawning over, and he's like, yeah, some Russian gave her a piano. It's like we give them the Iron Dome and everything. You should be more grateful for Americans. You know, and I'm like, wait a second, that piano sounded like a really nice gift, though. Like, and this person that you're fawning over is a pianist.
Sounds a little jealous or envious or something.
Oh yeah, Yeah, like he's losing his mind, like, or he done lost it, and I'm trying to, like, get him to
Yeah, I would have fucked with it. I'd have been like, "We'll send her a bigger piano, a bigger, nicer
Well, he
one."
wants.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Her to live with him, and it's like, dude, like you had a job where you could totally rent a house and everything, and now you threw the job away. And where's she going to put her piano? Because the dude is living in his van, which is a step up from my buddy buying. Because like he just, at least my buddy Jeff, like, has a place to put all his property and everything, and he kind of maintains this old ass van. But it's like, also, you're not you should be taking steps to kind of improve yourself, and improve the situation. And like, yeah, it's just like, where's she going to put her piano, dude? Like, in the back, all crammed and everything. Like, at least, like, if you were renting a house or something, you would have a chance. But I don't, like, this chick is a pianist, and she probably wants to have a piano wherever she's living, and you're in a van, and that van can't accommodate a piano. So I'm just trying to be logical here. Like, if you really want to, like, I was trying to use his fawning over the chick as a way to encourage him to get a house, or a place, a roof over his head. It's like, come on, man. Like, you should at least get a place to live, and then, maybe you'll have a chance with this chick.
Yeah, then worry about
a relationship. But he was getting, like, kind of jelly over, like, the weapons, but also, like, that's the propaganda. It's like how are weapons that create destruction a better gift than a fucking piano?
Yeah, just fucking. It baffles me the way that some people logic out what they're, how to deal with certain things. And I'm not gonna lie, I've had anger issues my entire life, but it's more out of frustration than hate. So, like, when I get upset, I might scream and flail and might even punch a fucking wall, but I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to fucking damage anybody that can't. I don't want to damage anything that can't be replaced with some fucking spackle, basically. You know what I'm saying? And a little bit of paint. So I just don't get that mentality of, well, they want this thing, so we should go in and kill them all. It's like, wait, but what the fuck is that gonna accomplish? It just fucking, like, the whole Iraq war and then the whole Afghanistan bullshit, and it's just like, yeah, it does. It makes people rich, but it makes our population get behind them and want them to fucking, like, go kill all these people. It's like, what if that was happening here? What if that was us? What if China and Russia fucking banded together, which they have plenty of fucking firepower and population to overtake us easily if they really wanted to. The problem is we got nukes too. You know what I'm saying? So it would literally just be mutually assured destruction of the world. But we can't do that. We had treaties in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s maybe, for Europe to disband all of their fucking nukes. And in the contract is basically in promise that America and Russia would not have a nuclear conflict because it would literally end everything. You know what I'm saying? And then look, it's been the same fucking shit since then. Every fucking, like, 5 or 10 years, 8 or 7, 8, 10 years, there's Russia's invading Crimea or whatever the fuck it might be. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like Jeff is a good reflection of what a good chunk of Americans believe. Because,
we do the same shit.
He does the Facebook, and he gets like way into it, and so do a lot of other Americans. And they're all like, oh, China, oh, Russia, and it's like, dude, have you ever met, like, a Chinese soldier or a Russian soldier, like, seen them on the shores of America? Like, why? Like you're worried about something that you're never going to see in your lifetime, yet you're experiencing it yourself, Jeff. You're homeless right now, but you're all, like, supporting, this almost $1 trillion a year budget when $20 billion could solve homelessness across America.
Yeah, and it would house.
We choose not to spend $20 billion on that, but we choose to spend like $780 billion on the fucking military.
It just fucking aggravates me when I hear those numbers, dude. It's like,
yeah, I know. We could do so much good with that shit.
We could house everyone and feed literally everyone for, like, a fraction and still be the world's superpower, and with our fucking thumb up our ass like a bunch of dumbasses. And just fucking squander all this money, and then our population is so stupid because of miseducation that they're like, no, they're doing what they have to do to make everything right, and by going and invading a bunch of other countries around the fucking country that we're saying is trying to take over the world. And it's I don't get it. And then we got motherfuckers calling everyone a Nazi, and it's like, we're the fucking Nazis, dude. You're a Nazi too, because you're fucking a nationalist and a socialist. So isn't that what that means? You know what I'm saying? Like, all you guys motherfucking out there, not you, but you know, people in general, vast majority of the population are, oh, well, that country attacked that country, we need to go in there and invade them and kill them all. And it's like, do you hear yourself?
We called it in, like,
do you hear yourself? Yeah, but we're protecting the little guy. Who? Like,
are you sure? Like,
yeah.
Are you sure you're protecting the little guy? Are you getting your information from corporations that are telling you otherwise?
Right,
because
exactly.
Unless you, like, actually have lived out there recently or been out there recently, vacationed there recently, how the fuck do you know what's going on over there?
Right,
you know,
unless you have some sort of
told.
line of communication with someone there. You're right, exactly.
Yeah, you have family over there that's actually telling you what's up or some shit
right.
like that.
And it's just, we've grown into, we'll just believe whatever the fucking news tells us because the mainstream media tells us, because that's what we're supposed to do. And then well, I'm trying to say, like, YouTubers.
They bitch about a lot about laziness, but they love lazy thinking.
Independent journalists come out with a story and say what's actually going on, and then it gets suppressed, or people just attack those people, or, you know, because they don't. Oh, well, CNN says this is what's really happening. It's like, well, that's partially what's happening, but they're only giving you they're giving you their biased side, and we're trying to give you the real fucking, the whole story, because we have these people saying this thing, we have those people saying that thing, and then we have like hundreds of other witnesses and actual people that were there that all are corroborating a different story, or maybe something somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
you can't take every story exactly at face value, but if you get enough of the stories together, you can kind of triangulate what the most likely event or most likely reality of that event was, you know. But
yeah,
people aren't willing to take in more information than the side that they're already on. Like say progressive or liberal, air quotes, you know, they're well, I'm glad we got Joe Biden in this position now because I'm willing to go to war for him. And it's like, what the fuck,
dude? Bitch, when Trump was doing that shit.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. If Trump did this shit, you would be against it 1,000 fucking %.
And that's the tribalism that America is. And they turned our politics into like some sports theater. Like the same mentality with sports. Oh, you're a Cubs fan? Fuck you. I'm a White Sox fan, bitch. You know, like,
I'm just a baseball fan. I'll go watch them both.
Shit, it's more malicious shit, and it makes people a ton of money. And that's like one of my arguments is like look, because you're making a ton of money, and we're not spending this gobs of money on the American people. We're spending it on a select few. You know, you're kind of like, the system is rigged, and it's rigged against millions of people. Millions of people could have, like hundreds of millions of people could have better lives, a little bit more on their bank accounts, with better jobs that have these benefits that the government could in fact supply. Like if you're a small business and you can't help out with the payroll, you know, like we're doing a minimum wage increase from $15 to $25 an hour, and that's going to really impact you, then I don't want major corporations that have, you know, record-breaking profits, you know, getting into the slush fund there, you know, but it's meant for straight up the little businesses, and the laws like these need to be really carefully crafted, because remember after 9/11, like, and that was one of the things, like one of the billion things that Trump did is like Trump's building was like 11 blocks away, but then his team of lawyers and accountants like jumped on that fucking government aid, and he got, I forget how much in aid he got, but he got aid when he didn't really need it.
Right.
It was just fucking like free money for the fucking rich or whatever.
And see, that's
that's
one of the arguments I hear from people in general is the opposite of that. Where, you know, the same thing, but the opposite side is, well, I don't want to be giving part of my paycheck to these lazy assholes who don't do any work. And it's like, dude, most of those people you're talking about are lazy assholes are single moms with like 3 kids and 2 jobs. So go fuck yourself, because I grew up in that fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? I know.
Or even just
that most, and honestly, yes, there are people out there that are fucking scamming the system. But anybody who really wants to go do some real shit and make some real money is not fucking doing that for fucking a couple $1,000s in fucking April. They're fucking flipping work and robbing people and breaking into houses and doing other fucking shit to get, you know, more immediate fucking shit, you know, because
selling shitty drugs.
Who wants to go have 3 or 4 kids and take care of them just to get a couple grand every year? That's fucking that's insane. You know what I'm saying? Like here's just enough money to get by, and we know you're struggling. You won't be able to afford anything decent, like a place to live or fucking groceries, and you're gonna have to fucking sell weed to your friends or whatever to get by. But yeah, you know, we'll help you out. But then you get people like, say, a factory worker where I used to work. They make about $30 fucking an hour, and they're like, oh, I can't believe my taxes are so goddamn much because I fucking have to pay for these people on public aid. It's like, dude, you pay like 0.3% out of your fucking check, which is like fucking $1. So go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not that you say, oh, I pay for the cops and all this shit. No, you pay like fucking $2 a fucking month out of your fucking salary. You know what I'm saying? Go fuck yourself. You're not doing shit. But the accumulative of everyone, thousands and millions of people paying into that, are the ones that are helping pay for all that. And your fucking one little fucking 100th of a goddamn percent ain't doing shit. You know? So
yeah,
I mean, it does altogether accumulatively, but singularly, that person complaining, oh, I don't want to give my hard-earned money, dude, you're giving your hard-earned money to the goddamn government to spend on military bullshit and to waste on fucking, you know, whatever the fuck it is.
So your money is like, you're not probably going to like where your money goes, you know, a lot of people, but
or for your state representatives. Or for your state representatives to give themselves a raise and not fix anything infrastructurally anyway, you know, that type of shit.
Yeah, they give themselves like thousands of dollars a year, like Congress, like every year, but then the minimum wage, especially like federal minimum wage, has stayed like stagnant since like 2009, I think. It's just like a pathetic $7.25. And granted, some states have increased it, but just to not have the federal increase it is very insulting, and it shows the dysfunction of the government and who the government really works for. You know, for 13 years, they haven't raised the minimum wage once, yet they've given themselves raises.
And yeah, and then tax cut to their billionaire fucking donors and blah, blah, blah.
To the donors, to their donors and the stocks and everything that they shouldn't even, like, not even their spouses or friends or anybody that they're related to, like, and this should be like a special department. And like, since we're spying on everybody, we should definitely make sure that public servants are not feeding information like, hey, we're going to do this government contract, so the stock price is going to go up, so buy a bunch of it right now. None of that shit no more.
Yeah,
and
see, that's kind of
people,
something. That's something that's almost impossible, though, because there are so many people. I could write an anonymous letter and hand it off to a buddy, and then that buddy contacts the guy that needs that information, and then all of a sudden, my bank account gets fatter. Though, you know what I'm saying? But there might be a document, but there was no real like paper trail because they didn't do it over the phone, or they didn't send it in the mail, or you know what I'm saying? Like there's no way to really track that.
Law. You shouldn't be able to do that, and maybe we should force them to jump through these hoops and everything, to do this illegal shit.
Like if they make if they are in a public position and they make a certain amount off of stocks, then you tax like the stock like 90% type of shit, like they used to do.
No, you need a blind trust, not what Trump did either. He like called it a blind trust. He's like, yeah, I gave it to my family, and it's like, what? Do you understand the word blind? Before trust is like, it's not just because he just did a trust. And he's like, yeah, it's a blind trust. And people are like, yeah, fuck yeah. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? I saw a recent DFF advertisement for like space travel is just not going to happen or something like that.
Not in our lifetime.
And I challenge accepted. Yeah, well, yeah, challenge.
It will happen, but it's not. The thing is, our firstly, too much of the population probably doesn't want it because they think that God's going to come save them. I'm saying the world population, but then when it comes to like our government, man, we could have fucking been to fucking the moon and back 1,000,000 times by now if they really.
Well, we could have made a base there already, or like some sort of shelter, or something. Like we should start practicing. And that could be the new space race.
But instead, all the money that could have been spent on that type of shit gets spent on tanks that don't get driven and planes that don't get flown and bullshit like that. Yeah, and like it's just they just waste a bunch of time and money and no real effort, because the only effort is making promises to us that things are going to happen and then requiring more and more of our tax dollars and then offering less and less to us in benefit for it, and then we don't get what they promise and we don't get anything else, and then we still continue to believe what they have to say. And to me, that's fucking like insane.
Yeah. And yeah, we are an insane, highly propagandized society.
So, to get to your point about the whole space race type thing, yeah, we could go to the moon fairly easily, but it's what, 275,000 miles from here.
About, yeah.
When we're on average, but I can't remember what Mars is, but it's like 50 million miles away or 20 million miles, which is like, wait, what was it? It was like, maybe it's 100 million. It's like 200 or 2,000 times farther, whatever that is. 275 times 2,000.
Yeah, it's like we could get an emergency thing over to the moon within a week. But if there was an emergency situation on Mars,
depending on where in orbit we are, that's crazy to me. And so that's a lot. And we don't even have a moon base, so why are we even thinking about really Mars? We need to
yeah, we should be testing
focus our effort
on the moon.
Yeah, a little more locally. And I mean, yeah, we can always come up with new ways of like space travel, but like, in the background. But how's that even going to happen when like NASA keeps getting cut back because of we keep expanding our military? Like we have so much fucking military tech. Literally everybody on the planet could just fucking be driving around in their own fucking military vehicles and bullshit.
I get pissed off at the SpaceX, the Elon Musk bullshit, because he's siphoning a bunch of money from NASA. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this 3 times cheaper, and then it's like 3 times more expensive in reality, and NASA could be way more efficient with that money.
I hear what you're saying about NASA and their efficiency, but the rockets that they've come up with, and some of the people that used to work for NASA work for him anyway.
Well, probably because of money, Lebowski.
My girlfriend's friend, or like, I don't know if it's her old work, like some coworker or a coworker's husband or wife or whatever worked with NASA, and now they work there, like trying to break things. Like they build it and then they ship it over and like, all right, this is the prototype. See what you can do to break it. And they test it as hardcore as they can.
Yeah, but did their salary increase?
her salary did increase, but the things that they do are like on a bigger scale. Like, I guess she said before when they were doing this, it was like it would take them like 5 years to get from, you know, the design phase to the testing and breaking stage, whereas this is more like a year. So that's basically 5 times faster. But at the same time, look at the technological advancements that we've seen in even the last 5 years in computer technology, compression technology, metal work, welding itself. You know, like with orbital welders are getting better.
That he doesn't really deserve.
Well, I'm not saying that the motherfucker don't deserve. I'm not trying to defend him because I know where his money comes from, his family money and all that shit. I get what you're saying. But at the same time, there are benefits technical to what he's pushing toward in somewhat in the space race area. And so without those, just like I was talking about those military advancements a couple episodes ago, is a lot of times people at home go, oh, well, don't they know they could do this? And it's like open source fucking coding and shit like that. And they can actually do work to benefit society in a way and maybe not even use it in a military way. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of a dog armed, instead of a robo dog armed with fucking lasers and rockets or some shit, maybe they arm a robo dog, right? A rescue dog with a something like that, and like maybe a what the fuck is that called with the cable and a winch, you know, or something like that, or it could do something, you know, like more productive, you know, less fucking, where if someone saw one they wouldn't go, oh fuck, it's gonna come get me. They go, oh cool, it's here to get me, you know what I mean? So
those robo dogs could be on the moon, and if we got more into the thorium, the molten salt thorium reactors, we could probably have one on the moon that produces a lot of electricity. Because I'm all for the green technology, man, but it does produce a lot of carbon, harvesting these rare, you know, earth materials to build.
Right.
And like what we should do in the meantime, like we should develop the green shit. You know, don't go too crazy with it because we're using a bunch of carbon. But also, like we could skate on the molten salt thorium reactors that don't use water in their design, which the water is the one flaw that the uranium, plus we can make weapons with uranium and not thorium. So we went with the uranium. But if we went thorium, like we could have like electric powered airplanes, like straight up. There was a prototype that was tested, and there's like a real photo that you could look for on the internet of, you know, it was being escorted by 2 traditional aircraft as it was just a prototype, but they have it. They have this. We have this technology. We just choose not to use it. I don't know what we're thinking. The leaders don't really think of that. They're just thinking about their bank accounts and who they got to mingle with and kissing ass or getting their asses kicked.
It's like when I watch and the magical Trump rallies, thinking and even from the populace, basically that too, because then people are like, oh well, they've got us. They're smart. They're the ones in charge. We're just gonna sit back and watch it happen. And then shit falls apart, and then they don't blame them and they don't go, well, they fucked that up. I'm not gonna participate in this stupid system anymore. I'm gonna try to figure this shit out on my own. It's not like that. It's like, oh well, I guess that's what we get, and I guess we'll just keep getting it. You know, it's like,
yeah, well, I guess we gotta wait 4 years or something. Maybe we'll have better options.
Yeah, we'll figure it out in 4 years. Some of us don't have 4 years. Some people have been waiting all their life for change, and shit don't change. Think about, I saw some statistic about that. Like, imagine all those people that like fought in the civil rights movement and either, you know, or lived through it or lived during it and died right before, you know, all this shit actually happened, or, you know, certain things throughout history where, you know, they fought all their entire lives, and then wouldn't have shed a tear over like happiness from finding out that it actually got through, you know what I'm saying? Because they died. and the time that it took for the shit to actually go through. You know what I'm saying? That's
there's millions of people that die,
fuck.
Without the progression, and it's kind of sad, that it's like that. And there's a lot of people that have fought for like Medicare for all for decades, and it just doesn't go nowhere. And then I think Medicare for all has been around since like the 90s, and it never and people were probably really psyched to hear about that. And 3 decades later, here we are still. No Medicare for all, and the dude that was talking about Medicare for all in the last few elections was super popular, but then they ship him in the primaries, it's just so bad and corrupt, man. There's one thing though that I was trying to say with the whole like Trump, like dude, like you could tell it's about his ego, like he loves that shit, and even Biden. When people are fawning over him in a big crowd, and it's like my reaction, like that would kind of make me uncomfortable, because I'm just really, like, I'm not in it for myself, for my ego. It's about the people. It's about all of you. It's not about me.
Yeah, most people aren't like that though. See, that's why I like you, because most people that I've ever met are the exact opposite. Well, it's all about me. That's why nothing ever fucking changes, because certain people say, well, I'm all about charity and I'm all about help, but those are the same people that don't want to fucking pay a flat tax so that we can and include businesses, even the ones they work for, that would, basically shift our tax system to pay for what's actually needed and help people who are in need until they can get back, on their feet, so, and they don't want to help be part of that system.
Well, it's the status thing too, it's like I pay my 10% in tidings, and I gave a blanket once a year, when it's Christmas and cold out, to the local shelter or something.
I throw a toy in the Toys for Tot bin and a jacket in the coats for kids bin, but that's about it. And it's like, okay, that's nice, and that helps. But what are you really doing? Yeah, there's people out there on a daily basis out there fucking, communicating with homeless people, or going from school to school, doing a seminar on how we as a society are need to pitch a hand. But then you get their obstinate ass parents like, what is this shit? What are we trying to teach our kids? What do you mean, what are we trying to teach our kids? We're teaching them compassion and how to care for the people around them, because that's what we have. That's literally all we have. We have technology, we have nature, and we have communication. What the fuck else is there? You know what I mean? Like, all the other shit is just bullshit. I mean, entertainment, I guess.
Money is sweet.
But yeah, like, what is it all for? Like, what are they getting out of it? Oh, they got the biggest property and they got the fattest bank account, but what about all the, starving children that could literally be taken care of on just a fraction of the budget that we waste on shit that we don't fucking need or don't have any fucking real use for at the time, or had a use for, but we continue doing it because, that's just the way it's always been. You know what I mean? So it's like I was gonna say earlier, we have all these fucking military vehicles. There's literally graveyards of tanks that have never been driven. Like, they've been driven onto a fucking like a train fucking
driven
car.
To its resting place.
Yeah, it's driven onto a train car, and it's driven off of the train car onto its spot, and then it sits there and rots for 20 fucking years. You know what I mean? It's like, and there's thousands of them, and they're all over the place. So it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? And then we're like, we have a shortage of metal.
It makes certain people some money, but I swear, like, whether you believe me or not, people listening, like, my message is, I know I'm not a perfect person, but like, I'm probably going to be like the most Jesus-like, wanting to be president person that you'll have, at least currently. Maybe there'll be someone better, and hopefully there is someone better.
Wait,
but,
Joe Biden's a Catholic,
and I swear. Well, I mean, I was raised Catholic, and that would be definitely. I'll be like the propaganda, like this dude's a piece of shit. I'm already experiencing it with the sex club here. You know, he makes fun of sexual assault victims. Like, the dude didn't want to be called an asshole. He didn't, like, he told me, the teacher, like, right after saying stupid and cutting me off and everything. And then I was like, well, people have the right to, you know, make mistakes. He said that he went in just shortly thereafter, like, about how you have the right to, like, not talk or play with anybody. And then I was going to do that to him, and it rubbed him the wrong way. So he's like, he makes fun of sexual assault victims. He's not allowed here.
Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, that's all that is.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then and if I could at least find, you know, one or more objective witnesses from October 2nd, 2021. Especially there was that chick that was talking about Tessa and everything, and I made a comment, and I was like, well, what if you have a penis? Because Tessa is this like you know, supposedly for male and women. It's like a violence thing to help victims of violence out. And I went there right after I got acquitted because I got attacked by one of the couples. There was the abuser that attacked me and the abused that just sided with her abuser. And I hit the dude one time, and I ended up going to fucking jail. And all my injuries were ignored and everything. And I got acquitted. And they said that, you know, my acquittal, like, was, like, because of self-defense. And what did I have to self-defend myself over? From being attacked. And I kept pressing the DA to press charges against them, but they wouldn't, you know, even after my acquittal. And I went to Tessa because I was homeless and everything, and I'm, like, looking for some fucking help. And I don't know exactly, like, what I did in October of 2015, but I went to Tessa, and I remember feeling extremely disappointed afterwards. They probably told me some bullshit like, go to the Springs Rescue Mission or the R.J. Montgomery Center, where the fucking, and those are the two shelters that Colorado Springs has. So it was like, yeah, I got abused by this couple, and I just, like, felt really disappointed. And maybe Tessa gets it right and helps a lot of people out, but they didn't help me out, and I was really kind of upset about that. That's why I kind of made the, you know, what if you have a penis comment. Anyway, that one chick that mentioned the Tessa shit, I was sitting like 5 feet away from her, and I'm sure she probably maybe remembers me and that day. And so I'm very interested in finding out who this person is, to be an objective witness of my actions and on that day, because I guarantee you she is not going to say that I made fun of sexual assault victims. I guarantee you. And there's probably others. Now there's others that are willing to lie because I fucking protest in a sex club and I'm, like, frustrating them, and how, you know, they kind of operate like a cult. I've already had I've had lots of negative comments, pretty much like nothing but negative comments. I think I've had like one nice email, and that was like it once. And then I had people sent to my house and shit back in December, and it's like, okay, so this is how you guys treat someone that's bitching about being abused and being wronged by the sex club.
Pile on,
just,
like
you know, send people to their house, gaslight them with a bunch of nonsense, and then, like, this fucking owner of Voodoo Leatherwork fucking, like, digging up shit in my past and everything to try to invalidate what he's doing to me now, you know. And it's like, and that's all shit that's going to be done on, like, a political scale if, you know, I do gain traction or something with this whole president thing. And there's going to be motherfuckers out there digging into my past, trying to invalidate some shit about me, you know. So, like, when I said that it was practice a long time ago to one of the people that approached me from Voodoo Leatherworks, I really did mean it.
Oh, yeah.
And this really is fascinating practice.
Yeah, because it helps kind of temper you in all the fucking shit that people are going to toss at you. And it, you know, it makes you don't have to become cold to it, but you can become calloused to it. You know what I mean? Not callous like as in a mean asshole, but like calloused as in, like, you know, thick-skinned over it, where you can take a lot of the fucking negatives, but be able to speak, you know, and say, hey, well, let's be real here, y'all. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but, you know, and be, you know, more even, I guess, than being like, no, defense, you know, because as soon as you're defensive, people think that you've lost. Like if you're in an argument and you get like, you sound like you're passionate and defensive about something, then you've lost to them because now you're upset, and so now you've lost the argument, regardless of your points and how pertinent they are to the argument. To a lot of people, if you get upset in any way, even if you get a little bit like hot under the collar, or maybe a little sweating on the forehead, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's nervous, he must be wrong, you know what I mean? It's like, no, it's just hard and frustrating to hear people that are either obstinate or ignorant or just plain liars saying bullshit, you know what I mean? Or just not trying to understand.
That sort of happened on Status Coup today. Like, I only caught like I was watching the Status Coup live stream, and he was interviewing Nick so-and-so, the leader of the Movement for the People's Party that had some sexual harassment allegations against him. And Nick was getting like kind of emotional, but I kind of understand that. And I jumped in like right at the end, right before Jordan like ended the thing. But there was a lot of people in the chat, the live stream chat, that were like, oh yeah, Nick totally is wrong because look, he's emotional. And it's like, look, yeah, well, I mean, you got to understand like that, like how emotional you get. And it's been mistakes in my past, but when someone lies about you and people start believing it, you get like really kind of emotional about that shit. And what's crazy is, not always, when you're really emotional, you're not thinking clearly, and you're not usually performing clearly, you know.
And if every one of them would look back, there was a point in their time where someone lied and said some shit about them, and they fucking cried about it. And everybody who says they didn't is a goddamn motherfucking liar. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit's happened to me 1,000 times in my life. And anybody that says it's never happened to them, they are not a human. They've never communicated with a human before, because that's what people fucking do. They fucking say, they say bullshit. Like, you know? I'm sorry.
Like R. Kelly, like he got too overly emotional. Like, yeah, and that was very suspect to me. Like, there's like the difference between the emotion of Nick, the Movement for the People's Party dude, and R. Kelly. Like, their reactions were kind of angry, but there was a big difference between them too. And I find Nick's reaction more like mine, and that's why I kind of empathize with him. This isn't to say that he didn't sexually harass people, but like prove it. Like,
that's also not to say that if he did, then he doesn't feel remorseful about it also. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people do fucking fucked up things and then realize, oh, I did a bunch of fucked up. I don't know anything about these guys. I'm gonna have to check them out though.
I don't know much about the details, but just looking at the reaction and everything, and I found his reaction to be just natural, and although may not be the wisest. But then, like, I'm thinking back on the R. Kelly reaction, and he started yelling at the interviewer and shit, and that was like fake. You know, that was show.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You could tell when it's genuine. When it's genuine, it has like, it feels real. You know what I mean? That shit right there was like obvious, like, you know, theatrics.
Yeah, it's almost like he planned it, you know. And just like, oh my god, like, I remember the owner of Voodoo Leatherworks. I don't know if I mentioned this in the chat, but during that last court date on January 31st, like, he actually like started to cry about me. And I like had called that shit out on mediation when I was. The thing about this situation is this is the second time this has happened to me. The first time is after my family attacked me and issued an unjust order of protection against me, and somehow it got its fix. Just, you know, for complex reasons that I've explained already in one of the previous episodes. So this time I handled it better. You know, and I was still emotional and I was upset, but I had myself together, you know, and I was able to defeat it. But this is why I got so emotional at mediation, at least, because I was like, you're doing shit that I've literally been abused like this in the same way in the past that you're trying to dig up and try to smear me over. is the exact same, part of the situation back then is exactly what you're doing to me now. And that's why I got emotional. And I had suggested that mediation. I'm like, I bet you're going to fucking fake it in court. And guess what he did in court? He faked it in court. But I'm glad the judge didn't buy it. I'm glad the judge allowed me to continue protesting. And this dude never, ever, decided to, have a conversation with me. Like, I'm outside, those two first protests back in November. I'm outside. You could have walked up to me and had a conversation with me. I left little clues, like when I wanted to fuck off the dude that I call Horse Boy. And I was like, he could think of things to say, but that's, it's not my job to think of what he should say. And I gave them the fair warning, very diplomatic, a heads up. Hey, I want to fuck off this person, essentially. Just label him an asshole and just be done with it. But if he wants to defend himself, I'm giving him, I'm giving you guys a heads up and, a chance to, think of, things to say. And so I gave clues in there, to how I operate as a person. But then he tried jailing me over the lies. He made up shit in the fucking restraining order. And then he tried jailing me over that. And now there's nothing left to talk about. There's I don't even want to fucking talk to you. And maybe there was a way I could have maybe trusted Voodoo Leatherworks again. But now you just totally uttered, you lied, you tried to jail me. That is such a level of betrayal that I cannot forgive, and I'm not a violent person. I'm not going to go, he's like, well, what about Columbine? This kid dresses weird. He said some shit like that at mediation. And he didn't bring it up at court or whatever, but, the skinny kid with the tiny belly across the street with signs is really threatening. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's so weird how parallel. I feel like I hear stories from people all the time, and I'm just like, I didn't go through that specifically, but I went through something similar to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember me talking about the wreck and the woman lying and at mediation and all that stuff. And it was so crazy because everything she said was literally just a fucking lie. And she cried every 5 minutes she would do a fake tear up and emotional kind of, I have emotional issues, crying about it, and then
trying to play up,
but telling on herself the whole time. You know what I'm saying? I was going 40. You aware of this 30? Yes. She you just told them that you knew you were going 40 and a 30 right before the accident. You know what I mean? So it's like all these
at least
things.
Thank God for that honesty, right?
Right.
But she could have lied about that shit.
But I'm just saying, but everything else you could tell when she was lying, and you could tell when she was just not. Because what it was is they would get her to lie, and then they would tell her that she lied, and then she would start to back out of it, and then realize, well, they already fucking know I can't do it, but then the next sentence they would ask her, she would lie about, and then the next thing they would tell her is she lied. You know what I mean? And when they got to me, I was just like, just bring it on, whatever. Just assume it's all true. Fuck it. You know what I mean? So what does that have to do with the fucking price of tea in China? You know what I'm saying? Who gives a fuck? Does it have anything to do with the case? No. So let's talk about the case. And then it got dropped immediately after I walked out of that fucking room. So
yeah, that's kind of the angle that I was going for. Although I wasn't 100%, and I should have probably prepared the night before. But I was just focused on not oversleeping to not have a default win. Like a technicality. I didn't show up or some shit like that.
Right. I had an emotional outburst. I was clenching my fists when she was doing that, and they looked over at me do we need to take a break? And I was just like, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just so frustrated at her lies that it's just I'm having a hard time telling you every time she lies, and it's you need a.
Well, yeah, you got to sit there and take it though.
You need to take a break. I was
let them.
actually, let's take a 10-minute break or something because I need to cool down because I was gonna stomp out of that office like screaming because they did hers first, you know, her deposition, whatever, and
Yeah.
I was just like astonished at the gall, you know what I mean, that people will go to the extent to ruin your character because they kind of
Because
look
they're
bad,
fuck
you
up.
know what I mean? Yeah, they made a mistake. I was part of the mistake. I'm not gonna lie. I tried to shoot the fucking gun and I tried to get between shoot the gap. I mean, I tried to shoot the gap and I didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? I fucked up. I thought my badass car was more badass than it was, and it wasn't. Or she was going way faster than.
You miscalculated, you know? Yeah.
She was probably going 50 in a 30, but we'll just say she was going 40. Either way, she was going 40 in a 30, which is much faster than the other two cars in front of her were going. You know what I mean? And she got me. And we both fucked up. And I admitted that I fucked up. And all I wanted her to do was the same fucking thing. The same courtesy. Bitch, I got your children out of your car and fucking brought them to you. And you didn't fucking give a fuck about them at the time. You know what I'm saying? And like, but anyways, it's that whole fucking shit just, it made people in our entire community, especially the people I worked with who knew her, it made everybody look at her with a different light, and a couple of people who worked with her found out what was going on and quit on her. And like it ruined her because she tried to press and she tried to punish me for our mistake. You know what I'm saying? A misunderstanding. I misjudged her speed. She misjudged that I was going to go or not.
Down too, you know.
She had 3 children in her car. It was just me in my fucking sports car. You know what I'm saying? So I thought I could, you know, but as soon as I hit that, I got halfway through it and was like, oh, fuck, you know, couldn't fucking react in time. She said that she had time to fucking think about whether or not where she could steer and not let her kids take the impact and the brunt of it. I'm just like, really? That's like superhero shit. You know, the thing was, she said she had a witness, and this is how it went. I'm sitting at a light. There's no traffic on either, like no cross traffic. I'm just waiting for the 2 cars that I see, because she was blocked by, she was in the, from my vision, the far left lane, but you know, in oncoming traffic, she would have been the curb side, you know what I'm saying? And I'm in the center lane. So the 2 cars that are in the other center lane oncoming flow through right at about 30 miles an hour, and I start to go, and here she comes up over the hill like out of nowhere, and you know, I had just enough time to hit the brakes basically, and by then I was airbag to the face, you know.
She probably lied that she was going 40 miles an hour on pound impact.
Because she was probably going 50 or 60.
At 50.
She was trying to beat that light.
Really
so anyway, when the cops were okay, so that happened. I'm probably knocked out for like 30 seconds because when I come to, she's standing with her youngest kid on the far corner away from, like where my car is pointed, away from her car, because her car spun in 180 and mine did too. So now she's on the corner of the street where she was heading toward, you know what I mean? So I get out and I look at her car and I see all of the airbags deployed around, and I don't see her across the street. I didn't even know I wouldn't even have recognized if it was her anyway, because it happened so fast. I didn't see her face before for the incident. So I just see this car and like smoke coming from their engine, and all the fucking windows are shattered, and the airbags all deployed. I'm like, oh fuck, someone's in there and dead. You know what I'm saying? So I run around to the other side and I open the side door, and 2 little kids' heads pop up like, who are you? And I was like, where's the driver? And they're like, our mommy is over there. And they point across the street to her. I was like, come with me. This is dangerous because we're in the middle of an intersection. I figured if a car's not paying attention and come up over that hill, boom, these kids are fucked. You know what I mean? It would be like the same accident and again, you know what I mean? So I get these kids and I walk them over to their mom, and she's flipping at me. I'm bleeding everywhere. I got blood dripping out of my thumb. I have a bloody nose and a bloody lip. My thumb got slashed by the side of the airbag, and the airbag hit my face so hard that it basically like it was a punch to the face. So, but I still remember it, like as soon from waking up after that, I remember it vividly. And so there's still nobody on this block, you know, like at this intersection. It's just us in the intersection. The 2 cars that passed are long gone. And so I was like, you know what? It's funny. The one time I'm not speeding, I get in an accident. You know what I'm saying? And she's like,
you see, because
she's like, what are you trying to say? You were speeding? And I said, no. I said, normally I am speeding, but the one time I was taking a leisurely drive home because it's nice out, this happens. And then the cop pulls up. And then her friend pulls up, like, as the cop is pulling up. So I get on the, the cop walks up to her because she's got the 3 kids, and she starts yelling, and she's like, there's my friend, she was a witness. And I'm like, how the fuck was she a witness? She's literally pulling up the street from the opposite direction, like the adjacent fucking
was she one of the 2 cars that, like, you know, were in front?
No, she was not. This was just a new car that pulls up, and she's like, there's my friend. And then the woman's like, did something happen? You know what I mean? You could tell she didn't fucking see shit. She couldn't have from her viewpoint, and the cop knew this. But he took down her story first, and I got on the phone real quick, and I called my girlfriend to come get my basket of shit out of the back of my trunk, because I had some slightly suspect stuff in there, and it wasn't nothing illegal. It's just things that don't make me look very good, you know what I mean? So like a big ass fucking machete and a survival knife and shit like that. Makes me look like a psychopath, but it's really for protection for delivery driving. But
you're
anyway,
you're the real life expert.
Right. So anyways, I'm sitting there on the corner bleeding. The cop doesn't even acknowledge that I'm even there. I don't even think he knew I was the other driver until he was done talking to her. My girlfriend pulls up. I go grab the stuff out of my trunk, put it in her car, and she parks into the parking lot on the corner where I was sitting because it's a car lot. And so I don't think he even saw her because he was paying attention to the woman. And so then finally he's like, so where's the other one? And she points over at me, and he's like, oh, are you okay? And because he sees fucking blood all over me. He's like, do you need an ambulance? And it was just like, you know, your thumb knuckle where you got that big wrinkle in your thumb. It was just cut right there pretty good. And I had a bloody nose. Basically, like, imagine getting slapped in the face by something. I felt like I just fell right on my face, basically, like that amount of impact. And my nose wasn't broken or nothing; it was just bleeding. And he was like, you know, are you okay? Blah blah. You need an ambulance. And like, he seemed more concerned now that he saw me. Like it was, oh, this accident is fucking worse than I thought. You know, all the kids were fine. There was no whiplash. And the thing was, though, she said that I aggravated her previous shoulder injury that had been paid for by the military because she's like an Army vet. Well, come to find out that her first day of training, she was supposed to like do some exercise, and she pulled her shoulder. So then she was on like light duty for them for a while, and then she said she aggravated it, and she told them, and then she ended up suing the government, and they didn't pay for anything, and And they actually did. They found out that fucking all this other bullshit. And then come to find out, after my car insurance paid for her company vehicle, paid for all of her hospital visits, and she goes to a chiropractor now, so they continually paid for that, so it added up to almost $100,000, right? Then she wanted to sue me for another $150,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Guess who
send you over for $250,000, you know?
Guess who just signed for a $250,000 house right before that accident?
You must have been stressed so much, man, like going out of your mind, like. Well, do you think she did research, like where you lived and how much your house was worth and shit? And
if
like,
she did
this shit that this fucking owner of Voodoo Leatherworks
she didn't find
like,
shit, because I don't own anything in my name. I didn't at that time have any. I didn't even have a bank account in my name at that time. My car was in my girlfriend's name.
Was.
Right, she could have, but she didn't. But anyways, her friends and family all left her. Her mom stopped communicating with her. Only reason I know this is because one of her former employees left there and came to where I worked, and I found out. I was telling her the story, and she's like, "No shit, that's the job I just left. This bitch, blah, blah, blah." You know." And so we kind of hit it off on that level. Like she told me all the inside scoop about her entire life, because she had been an employee for like 6 years. And it's like opened up, like, no shit, it just all makes sense why she would do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So that case got dropped. She got it was basically that same shit, like, dropped with prejudice. Like, this bitch is fucking, you could tell she was trying to fraud the courts. She could have gotten in trouble for it, you know, for lying and saying that none of it got paid for, and that I should pay for it.
She should have gotten in trouble for it. Like, you know, it's like this dude, like, saying that, like all these lies on there to get the order of protection, or the temporary one, just the law on his side temporarily.
Yeah. So,
you know, that should have been punished. I mean, besides from a lawsuit, you know, like, with a few $1,000 of damages or something. It should have, like, he tried jailing me over lies. Like, you should go to jail for that shit. See how you like it.
Yeah,
But I need to wrap this up, too, because I got that thing, I got that goddamn podcast to do in less than 30 minutes here.
Or a week ago by the time this comes out.
Oh, yeah. Like
9 days ago.
Yeah,
this was 9 days ago, so go check out that episode. All right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know what movies we're watching, but we're supposed to watch some movies.
I haven't gotten to the last. I watched like half of that of the Tuesday episode. I didn't get to watch the Manos episode yet. I just kind of had it on as background noise as I was writing again. I'm trying to get this fucking T-shaped mindset off the ground, but man, it's fucking slow going. I mean, I'm getting more and more traffic every day. I'm just not actually getting any real clicks. You know what I'm saying? I get a lot of impressions, but no real clicks.
I didn't know about your T-shaped mindset until like the last time you talked about it, which I think is the last.
Well,
time
I mean, it was in a very, very early stage, but now I have like 25 articles, and I'm animating a video for each article. So I've got like 5 or 6 of those already up. So every time I write an article, I'm going to make an animation of it, but it's tough to do that and do all the other shit I got going on, and then do this and that. You know what I mean? I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I wish I had more time. That's all I really wish. But
yeah, right.
So, you know, it's just something that I really I'm not trying to push it on anybody, but it's something for me that helps me, because I feel like I've been called coach my whole life by a bunch of people, and I might as well just be a fucking coach. So when it comes to like audio equipment or recording or making videos, I'm not necessarily like online, like streaming, because I don't really know much about that. But when it comes to like editing audio to video, or animating, or, you know, effects and all that other shit, I could go into 100 different things. But
Digital editing,
that's
your stick.
My passion. So that's I figured I might as well make a hub website and I called it T-Shape Mindset because tshapemindset.com, because being a T-shape person means that you have multiple skills that you can do, but you specialize in at least one. And then really it's more like multiple T-shapes, because you should specialize in more than just one. And that's what it kind of is a hub, to teach people that they can do that, and all you have to do is learn certain things in certain orders that set you up to understand other things in a more efficient, streamlined way. Like if I had learned all this stuff over again, I could have learned it in 3 years as opposed to 20, but I would have to use the formula that I created by learning it over 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like me, just giving the information that I've gained, even though it's evolved over those 20 years. It's the most up-to-date part of those ideas, I guess. So that's all that really is. But anyways, I'll let you go because I know you only got, 20 minutes or something?
Got 23 to get some coffee in me, and I wanted to run to the cigarette store, but I don't think I have enough time now. But then no biggie, whatever. Oh no, you're all right. I gotta wait a little bit. I'm already pretty broke anyway. But
you can dig through your bag of cigarette butts, I guess. I mean,
well, I got the cigarette butts kind of, they're gonna take me through this next little bit that I gotta do here for the goddamn podcast. Yeah, it was a fun chit chat. Thank you for our. Maybe we should call these therapy sessions. But I appreciate it. I really do.
All right. Well,
I enjoy talking with you.
I do too. You have a good one, man.
Yeah. Peace. Bye.
Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for more. See you guys later. Bye.